Listen, Steve and I want to thank our fans so much for voting us for the Webbies. I mean, you guys really came through. In the 11th hour, it looked like we were going down. And the fans somehow got it together and pulled us through. So we decided to give back, and we're going to do something really crazy for you guys. And we're going to have some actual fans join us on the podcast.
Now, listen, I know I said that unless you had something to do with The Sopranos, you would never be on the show, right? I said that early on. Now, we broke that rule for a few celebrity super fans, and we'll have another one today. Alec Baldwin is going to be on, who's the super of super celebrity fans. But at this point, we figure, what the hell? Let's bring some actual fans, you guys, of the podcast, and see what happens. We're going to bring some of you guys on.
Now, we adamantly said we weren't going to do this, but rules are made to be broken, Steve. That's what I always say.
I've broken a few in my time.
So, we're going to do the Talking Sopranos Superfan Contest. Now, to enter, you go to our website, talkingsopranos.com. You're going to click on the link, Superfan Contest. That's the link on the homepage. Or go to the link in the show description below. What you're going to have to do, though, you're going to have to, prove why you deserve to be on the show. In 150 words, tell us a little bit about yourself and why we should have you come on the podcast.
We'll read all of the submissions, or at least Andy's gonna, and we'll select a few lucky or could be unlucky fans, depending who you are, to join us on an episode in the future. Now, remember, go to our website and click the Superfan Contest link. This is going to be great. This is groundbreaking. No one does this. We're going to allow you loyal fans out there. We're going to interview some of you guys. You tell us what you think. We'll ask you questions about you.
And you could ask us, interview us. You could ask Steve about, his Motherfuck the World video, and who knows? Maybe he'll invite you to Motherfuck the World,
Who knows? Anything you ever wanted to ask a couple of Sopranos, now could be your chance.
So, but you got to be creative, and you got to write, 150 words, why you're the one that should be, on the show with us. So please, we want you. We're ready to have you. Join the contest. Another thing I wanted to bring up, June 1st, we will be announcing my band Zopa's first show in many years, live show with an audience in New York City. It's happening mid-August. June 1st, we're going to announce where and how you can get tickets. It's going to be live. It's going to be rock and roll in New York, and we'd love to have you all come.
Hey, Michael. How you doing? What's happening?
How are you, sir?
I'm good. All is well. Excited for today.
Yes. We have a very special guest, celebrity superfan, we're calling this episode. And our guest has several connections to The Sopranos, which we'll get into during the interview. He's one of the best known actors we have in America. Star of television, stage, Broadway in particular, movies. He has his own podcast. He's, a philanthropist. He's an activist. He's a very smart dude, and he's a good friend. And we're very happy to welcome Mr. Alec Baldwin.
Hey, Alec, how you doing, pal?
Good afternoon, fellas.
Hey, man, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So, we've had almost exclusively just people really involved with the show, the cast, the crew, the directors. You're one of the few, and you were nice enough to come on. When did you first, did you watch The Sopranos from the beginning? I know you were friendly with Jim. Did you know about it before it was happening? I don't think you were up for any roles, but I don't know. Tell me.
No. Well, two things. One is the season premiere was, what was it, 94? What was the year it premiered?
90.
What was the first year?
98.
9. It went on
99?
the air in 99. Yeah.
99. So I was away making a film, and I came home, and I was living in LA then, and I was married to my ex-wife, and I turn on the TV, and I'd worked with Jimmy, and I see this show, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to take a look at this show. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool, and I love Jimmy. And what I realized, as the years went by, and I'd love to hear you guys talk about this, is that, all these shows, when people start, myself included, everybody's kind of groping their way toward the character in season 1. So I guested on Will and Grace, for example, and they sent me some of the episodes from the beginning of the show. And the characters that the people are playing are not at all what they're playing come season 3 and 4. They're finding the character and they're feeling it out. So the first season of The Sopranos, I'm sitting there going, yeah, this is cool. This is okay. You get to season 3 and 4, and every Sunday night, my hand to God, every Sunday night, it was 60 minutes, order the Chinese food, eat the Chinese food, Sopranos, big love, go to bed. Without fail. I mean, I became a Sopranos nut and watched the show. I told Michael I was there's a cemetery near us here, and there's a grave there, and the stone said Moltisanti.
Right.
And I took a
you
picture
posted
of
that.
the
I saw
tombstone.
that.
I said, we're here visiting your grave, Michael. We're here visiting your gravestone here in East Hampton. The guy's
And
name
then,
was Moltisanti. Anyway, I got hooked on the show.
A couple of weeks after you posted that, oddly enough, David Chase started an Instagram account, and he posted a picture of Christopher's actual grave with there's a picture of Christopher on it. And he had no caption, and it was his first day on Instagram, and he had never been on before. And it was the one you posted was not Christopher's. It was some real person named Moltisanti, right?
A real person. Yeah. It was a real gravestone.
And this was Christopher's, and it was very mysterious and cryptic. So I don't know what it is. I mean, I'd like to ask you, you're someone who, your podcast is Here's the Thing, right? That's the name of it. And you talk to people, you talk a lot about culture, and you're very savvy when it comes to, especially with TV and movies and stuff. Why do you think The Sopranos made an impact?
Well, I think that, The Sopranos becomes one of those shows where it's like a band, everybody's servicing the same goal. There's shows where people come on and the individual cast members are very bright and shiny and everything works. And, in sitcoms, they're very funny. And there might not even be a need for them to be in the service of the same thing. But great acting to me is like music, and everybody's got to be playing off the same sheet music, And Chase, of course, is this legendary writer. And, you get a couple seasons into the show, and you got the best actors on TV who are all jamming the same tune. They're all servicing the same story. And nobody's off here doing their own thing. Everybody fits together, in a really beautiful way. Right. And I love that. The Sopranos eventually becomes one of those shows, which is like you guys both know, where there's jobs in this business that become like a club you want to get into. You want to get cast in a Woody Allen movie. You want this to happen. And The Sopranos becomes one of those shows where you're like, who do I got to sleep with to get a part on The Sopranos? I want to be on that show,
Did you ever pursue it? Because I know you told me a story. I think we were doing Hollywood Squares.
Right.
And you told me a story about you ran into David. It was a hot day.
In the bathroom. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's insane. That's like the most effed up story. I go to meet a woman, Georgette Mosbacher, famous businesswoman, La Prairie Cosmetics, and her husband was Robert Mosbacher, and she's this rich socialite businesswoman. And I go to meet her about a charitable thing, and my office says, go meet her at the Four Seasons restaurant. I go to the Four Seasons Hotel by mistake. It's August. It's 95 degrees. I go into the Four Seasons Hotel. I can't find her. I call my office, and they go, no, it's the Four Seasons restaurant. This is like the chicest watering hole of elite business and media in New York. I'm sweating through my blazer. You can see the water like splotching my blazer. I say to Georgette Mosbacher, can you hold on a second while I go into the bathroom? I'll be right back. She says, take your time. I apologize profusely. I'm late. I go in the bathroom of this super chic restaurant, take my jacket off, take my shirt off. I'm mopping the sweat off my body, and I hold my shirt up to the mechanical dryer, and I'm drying my shirt with the hand dryer, and the door opens, and it's David Chase. And this is my introduction to David Chase, and he goes, Alec Baldwin? Like with that question, Alec Baldwin? Like, what the fuck are you doing drying your shirt in the bathroom at Four Seasons Restaurant? And I think based on that alone, I was never cast on your show ever.
Did you ever pursue? I mean, you didn't pursue it.
Yeah, I called up. I called up whoever it was, I forget, and I said, "Tell them." I mean, when it's time to kill Jimmy, this is early, before you get to the end, and I said, "There's only one man in this business who should come in, whack Jimmy, and ride off with Edie, and I am that man. I am that man. I'm the guy who needs to blow Jimmy away and take Edie, who I'm madly in love with, away." And they were like, sure, great. And then we'll add your name to the list of all the Irish actors who think that they should be on The Sopranos.
That's very funny.
You met Jim on, was it Streetcar on Broadway, right? With Jessica Lange.
Streetcar, 1992, yeah.
Aida Turturro was in that production as well.
Both of them were in the show. Did the movie The Juror with Jimmy and with Demi Moore. In 95, I shot that movie a couple of years later. And I love Jimmy because Greg Mosier, who directed Streetcar, calls me up one day. And this is after the show had been on for a while. And Mosier goes, quick, who's the hottest actor on TV? Because I guess there's some announcements of some awards that come out. I think I was asleep. I was like waking up in the morning. And he goes, quick, who's the hottest actor on TV? And I go, I don't know, Michael J. Fox? He goes, no, Jimmy Gandolfini. And I go, what? And the show was really cresting, and you guys got nominated for all these awards. And I would call Jimmy on the phone, and I would say, Jimmy, I mean, man, I'm so happy for you. This is the greatest thing. And he would always say the same to me, like, I can't fucking believe I got to get up at 4:00 in the morning, get in this fucking van and drive all the way out. This is the biggest pain in the ass. This show is the biggest pain in my ass. You have no idea what a pain in the ass this thing is. And I'm like, but it's going well, right, Jimmy? It's doing good, right? Yeah, but he was such a whiner, It was funny.
But he told us, he told me, I'm sure he told Michael also, how you were very influential in his career, that you helped him tremendously early on. He told me that.
Well, Jimmy is somebody who, and this is true of all you guys, I'm not just saying this. Listen, it's very, The Sopranos is the ultimate expression. The Sopranos is because everybody worships The Sopranos. Everybody thinks that The Sopranos is the best drama on TV in the last 30 years. And they think they're the best cast, and of course Chase, and everybody loves all you guys. And The Sopranos, to me, was that lesson that acting is as much what you don't do as what you do. There's a lot of choices and there's a lot of things people could have done, but everybody stayed right in that pocket, where they were all very truthful. The acting was so real, and that's why people kept watching, because they were like, it was like you were watching a well-lit documentary. The acting was just the best acting on TV, bar none.
Yeah, thanks. And Matt Weiner, who was on the show, he told us that in the dream sequences, what was it? The test dream? The coma? The dream, that Jim / Kevin Finity, remember when he became a different character, he modeled his walk after you. Yes.
I think that's funny.
Matt told us that he had the walk. He showed them the walk, and he had the briefcase, and I
had never heard that, and I don't know why. But
well, listen, Jimmy, I'll never forget Steve Brodner, who was the great caricaturist and cartoonist for The New Yorker for years. He did my favorite cartoon, which was the ultimate statement of where Jimmy landed. And Jimmy's on a throne, and 4 of the biggest mobsters in history are his staff. So Paul Muni's handing him his plate of spaghetti, and Edward G. Robinson's shining his shoes, and Brando's lighting his cigar, and Cagney's dusting the crumbs off of his jacket, whatever. And Jimmy is sitting there with this huge shit-eating smirk on his face. And here all the legends of Hollywood gangster films are working for Jimmy. Jimmy's the boss now,
That's
and
great.
and Jimmy, of course, the family that I don't need to tell you. I feel stupid saying this, but you want to have that center. Edie as much as Jimmy. You want to have that family, the eponymous family, the Sopranos, and Jimmy did a great job. But I mean, my God, the rest of you guys, it just was amazing. I always tell people there's very few shows or movies for that matter of the modern era that you're going to go back and watch again. You just don't. They're okay. They're good. I like them. They're good. But I could go back and watch you die in that car again, and I could watch you all die. I could watch all you guys get killed over and over again. You know what I mean? And just the way I grew up with, and I was good pals with when I was early in my career with Timmy Van Patten. He's from my hometown.
Oh,
and
really?
Timmy directed a lot of the episodes, correct?
Sure, a lot. He was one of our main guys.
And what would you say by the time you guys are rolling along and you guys are doing the show in the latter seasons, what did directors have to offer to you? Did they try to direct you, or did everybody was kind of, they knew what they wanted to do, they were on their own?
They had different styles, like Buscemi gave me acting notes that I never would have thought of in a way. And because he's a great, he's a fantastic actor. So he could kind of see from my point of view more than any other directors. What they did do, what the people we kind of relied on, what they did do was keep the flow going and kind of get used to each actor, like what they needed. Did they want to go? Did they want to rehearse a couple of times? Did they not want to rehearse? Did they want to go right to picture? Did they want to do a lot of takes? Did they not? Like understanding that, and and it's kind of a comfort level thing, just knowing what to expect, how it's going to move. I mean, I did a series that only lasted one season for Amazon, right? And the next to last episode, this new director comes on. He starts telling me all about my character. And I'm like, dude, like psychoanalyzing the guy. I'm like, that's totally wrong, first of all. And I don't need you to come on and tell me about my character. I'm playing him for 6 months now. I just need you to help me do this scene. Tell me what you want for this scene, what you think this scene needs, but don't start defining my character with me 6 months down the road. It was a big kind of, and he was like offended, but it was like a big,
But I would imagine for both of you, because this was like when I did the show 30 Rock for 7 seasons, one of the unintended consequences was, because they were so funny and they were so smart and clever, was everything else wasn't funny after that. People would send me scripts and I'd say, it's more cute than funny. And I wonder for you guys, when the show was over, was it tough for you to go back to work? Because pretty much 80% of what was going to be sent to you wasn't, you had the best. You had the best. What do you do then?
Well, I don't, very few mob, there's a million mob things. It's been there since the 20s, right? I mean, since the beginning of movies, there's mob movies. Very few are going to top this, Scorsese obviously came up with a few good ones here and there. You see a few, but few and far between. It's the same old shit, Alex, that same old D-movie crap. I mean, the bar is set so high. And what you were saying with the directors, I remember Tim Van Patten directed over 20. He directed more than anybody else. And I remember him not giving that many notes. He's not that guy that gives that many notes. Of course, he'll direct you in the right way, but he lets you do your thing, as opposed to someone in your ear. And we did have some directors come in for one-shotters, Peter Bogdanovich, Mike Figgis. You had guys, I think that Danny Liner, wasn't it Danny Liner, Michael? One shot. And I think it was really hard for them to come in. We all know each other. We've all been doing this for 7, 8 years, and you're the new guy, and now you're going to tell us, So I think it's pretty intimidating,
It must be very intimidating. Must be very intimidating.
You know.
And what
Yeah.
about you, Michael? What was the show you did for a season? The one season, Amazon?
I
What
did a
was it?
show called Mad Dogs on Amazon in 2015, which was very good, but I think it was one of Amazon's first series, and they didn't really get behind it very much. But I did a couple of things right after Sopranos was ideal because it was just creatively really fulfilling, a hell of a lot of fun, critically successful, ratings successful, awards, fans, and all that stuff. For me, it's been rare when both of those things come together, the creative side and the success side. So I've always divided. I'll go out and do stuff for money, and then I'll do like indie film. I'll produce plays. I've done so many films that nobody's seen because I love them and it's fun, or I lose money on them. Or my wife and I built a theater. We produced off-Broadway plays, and it was a non-for-profit thing, but sometimes those two things come together, but it's been very rarely. But that's okay, You just got to I always say know why you're doing something. It's okay to do a job if you need to, pay the rent or pay the bills. But don't
totally.
fool yourself
when you,
into thinking it's something else when it's not.
Well, what you said about those two things coming together, the recognition, the commercial success, the critical success, the great experience, the camaraderie, all that stuff. When you have that experience, you sit back and you go, they are rare. To have had that experience is such a blessing because everything else is just like ordinary. Every job I do, I sit there and I go, you'll read a script and you'll think, well, I really want to, I don't necessarily need to be the fizz in the drink. I don't need to be the lead. I don't have to have the juiciest part. If it's a good movie, like I do The Departed, and I have I want to work with Marty. I want to work with those guys, and I don't need to have the biggest part. So I want to be a part of that whole trip, And with movies, I've never really thought about, what's gaming my career and what's best. I just wanted to hang out with those people, like Ed and Motherless Brooklyn. Most of the movies I've done, I've been like, I just want to be on that set. I want to hang out with them. It's all time how do we pass time, our lives, And I want to go do that, or the theater and things like that. And when everything comes together that way, when you have like you said, and nobody had more success than you guys, nobody. That's such a great feeling. It's such a blessing that you got to have that. Now, when you guys are out there, is the whole world, I can't imagine anybody who the whole world is up your ass more. You probably have never paid for a drink the rest of your fucking life.
Maybe you. Maybe you're you certainly.
I can imagine everybody's like, "Hey, Tommy, look who it is," and everybody's buying your dinner and drinks.
You got to stay away from those. That's scary.
I think that was really hard for Jim. I think Jim, because Jim's so big, he's a big guy. He's instantly recognizable. So he'd go out in Manhattan, and it was just like Tony Soprano's coming in my restaurant, Tony Soprano's in my bar, and everybody loved Tony Soprano. And, Jim's a very low-key, humble guy in many ways, and I think that was really difficult for him because it happened very quickly, He was a character guy. He'd done a lot of work. He was an actor's actor, but he wasn't really known to the public. And then all of a sudden it really was quick.
A story with Alec. A story with Jim. Jim used to hang out at the Ear Inn downtown. Down on what's that? Washington Street, Spring Street.
Yeah.
So he had been going there for years. He lived down there years and years, and he would sit in the corner, read the paper, have a couple drinks. Owner never said a fucking word to him. He was just a regular guy. Sopranos hits. Suddenly the owner comes down the end, buys him a drink. Jim fucking is pissed. Fuck you. All these years I've been coming in here. You never said a fucking word to me. Now that I'm on TV, fuck you. And he got up and he fucking left. And then he calmed down and kept going back in there. But he blasted the guy. It was like, I've been here the whole time, And now you want to be my friend.
I used to go to one of the old school Little Italy mob restaurants years ago. And they had the best food in town. And I'd go there and I'd have dinner with my ex-wife and they'd say, the owner, Frank, insists on picking up your check. I'd say, no, please. I said, buy me dinner when I'm broke and I have no money.
Yeah.
I said, right now I can afford to pay. He said, no, please. He does this once. I go back. I decide to let it go. He does it again. I feel really uncomfortable. He does it the third time. And then finally, the waiter says to me, the owner, Frank, would like to talk to you, Alec, over this table over here. The owner, Frank, would like to talk to you. I go over there. He's at the table. He's like, they call me Alex. All the mob guys call me Alex. They're like, Alex, this is my wife, Mary. This is my wife, Marie. My daughter, Marie. My cousin, Marie. My sister, Marie. Everybody, Alex Baldwin. And he says, let me ask you a question. He said, my daughter's graduation party on Staten Island is next month. And we were wondering if we sent the car to pick you up, would you come as a guest to my daughter's graduation party out on Staten Island, Alex? And I said, God, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be flying back to Cali. And the guy's face, he was like, all right, Alex. All right, Alex. Like, fuck you, Alex.
There is no free lunch. No free lunch.
I was never more terrified in my life. Where was, for you both, where was the, what was media, movies, TV? Like, what did you watch? What were you consuming when you were a kid? A lot of people grew up on your show. What were you watching when you were a kid?
I mean, all those classic sitcoms. I'm 63, so I'm older than Michael. But, The Odd Couple, Gilligan's Island, Lucy, all of those things that we all watched, All in the Family, all those shows in
Batman. I would love the Batman when
60s and 70s,
The Honeymooners, The Twilight Zone. I love that.
Which is still on. I watched The Twilight Zone last night, actually. That's what I grew up on, but that's part of the reason we did the podcast because, me and Michael, we were approached and we saw that there's a whole new generation of kids in their late teens, early 20s, mid-20s watching the show. They were too young. The show's been off the air. It's going to be 14 years. And these kids were babies. And they're watching the show, and there's all these Instagram pages, and people are doing podcasts that had nothing to do with the show. And that's when me and Michael said, well, let's do it with two guys that were there. Michael from the beginning, I came in the second season and made it to the end, So there's a whole new generation all over the world watching The Sopranos. And I assume 50 years from now, when we're long gone, they'll still be watching it the way we watch The Twilight Zone and, Honeymooners, et cetera, et cetera,
I was talking to somebody about some scene in the movie, and I said, yeah, I'm going to put my hand over him. I'm going to beak him. And the guy goes, what? I said, I'm going to put my hand over his nose. He's choking on the blood. I'm going to beak him. He goes, what does that mean? I go, didn't you watch the fucking Sopranos, you moron? You don't know what it means to beak somebody? What's your fucking problem?
Yeah.
You assume everybody watched the show.
You got to work with Edie on 30 Rock.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Right? You got to work with Edie on 30 Rock. Right?
Yeah.
Is that the first time you worked with her? The only time you worked with her?
It was the only time I worked with her, and I'd seen her on Broadway when she did Frankie and Johnny. I of course saw her in the show, and it helps when you have casting is everything, and all of you were so perfect. Chase is genius beyond writing, like all great writer showrunners and so forth, producer showrunners, is the casting as well, where everybody had their individualized value, you know what I mean? And you couldn't have another actress in the cast who played your girlfriend,
Dre DiMatteo?
Michael's girlfriend. Dre couldn't play Edie's part. In order to make that work, you had to have a woman who kind of beamed a certain depth and integrity. Not that Dre doesn't have that as an actress, but I'm saying, but like Tony Soprano, the genius of that casting was his wife had to have like this tremendous amount of integrity. She wasn't a woman who just was polishing her diamonds and counting shoe boxes full of cash and stuffing them in the floor. And she wasn't this trashy. She had a lot of integrity. And that lifted that show. I mean, and Edie has a tremendous amount of integrity as an actress. She's such an amazing woman, and that really lifted the show. I mean, that lifted Jimmy. Like you look at the Tony Soprano character and you think, here's a guy, and that's his wife. There's a woman like this who loves him, who cares for him, and everybody was just so perfect. But you all died.
And the fact that she was, I know. The fact that she was so conflicted.
Yeah.
I just saw that for the first time last week. And we haven't watched the show. My character dying, that scene.
You just watched it for the first time when?
No, I saw it when it came on the air.
Right.
We haven't watched the series since it was on the air. That was another reason why we thought doing the podcast would be cool, to revisit it after all these years. And, what's weird is like you're so detached from, people ask, how did it feel to get killed? It's like when you're doing it, and that, it's like, it's so mechanical, and there's, the camera's there and the lighting, and you're working on choking and this, and it's, when you see it, it's this whole other thing, right? And when you're doing it, it's like, okay, then you're done, you go, all right, I'll see you tomorrow, because it wasn't my last scene, because you don't shoot in sequence. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So it was kind of
like when Drea dies,
time.
When they killed Drea, the way they killed her, I mean, again, I'm not joking when I say to you that Sunday night appointment with your show, and it was the same thing every Sunday. I'm not kidding. 60 Minutes, Chinese food, Sopranos. And I'm sitting there eating my, lo mein, and they're dragging her into the woods, and I'm going, oh my, it was so horrifying. But like you say, when you're doing it, I mean, I'm incapable of being entertained by myself. If I'm in a movie, I'm not going to watch my own movie. You know what I mean? And if I watch a movie, those movies are so ephemeral. Like if you do a play and you perform that role over and over again, you have a different relationship to the material. But in a movie, like I'll watch a movie will come on that I'm in, and I'll sit there and the scene will come on and I'll go, I remember that day. And my friend will say, what do you mean? And I go, that's the day my car broke down on the Ventura freeway on my way to work. I remember things around the job, but not the scenes themselves, because you kind of go to another place when you're doing the scenes. But you just went back and watched some of it recently for the podcast?
Well,
all of it.
We're doing basically this, we watch it, once a week, and I haven't seen it. I'll tell you this. I appreciate it much more. I appreciate now that I'm older, the Melfi stuff with Tony, the psychiatry office. I enjoy that much more now that I'm older. I understand it more. We didn't watch it at all, and I got to tell you, I can't. A lot of times we've had so many guests on the show, and we asked, and they said, well, I've read for this, read for Tony, I read for Uncle Junior, and I read, I can't see anyone in the roles except for the people that played them. I can't.
That's it.
Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, when you, Nancy Marchand, oh my God. Awesome. Nancy Marchand. This elegant woman with this incredible background in the theater and so forth. This dame of show business in her earlier career, and she comes on and plays this woman that I hate to say this, but I know a few guys who had a mother like that, who was a complete pain in the ass whack job. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's very hard to want to admit you want to push your mother off a cliff. You know what I mean? But it's a terrible feeling to have the sensation of matricide, as they say. But something. Tell me, because in the end, I got my 1 teaspoon of Sopranos cred was when they asked me to interview Chase for the DVD bonus track for the season compilation, for the all the seasons compilation, the full series compilation. So I interview him, and I got to interview him. And, he's the thing I love about him is most people who are as gifted as him, they feel the need in some way and at some point in your exchange of energy with them, whether you're working with him or you're interviewing him or you just meet him, to kind of show off and display some of the, insights they have or brilliance. I'm not going to name names, but I know a couple guys who it's like, they're like lawyers, you know what I mean? They just can't stop trying to impress you all the time, and they're so fucking smug about their talent and their careers. But with Chase, there was none of that. Was he like that the whole time you worked with him? He just was like a really humble guy.
Well,
he was really committed to the material, to the integrity of the material, and the consistency of it, and the imagination and the detail of it.
He is a true genius. I mean, I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but nothing happened by accident on the show. There was no accidents. Everything was thought out, planned by either him, his vision, or the writers. When we interviewed him, at first it was kind of pain. It didn't seem he was in pain at first. It seemed. He opened up and had it. Yeah. And then the three of us had a great conversation, like the three friends that we are, and I think he actually enjoyed it, and we loved talking to him. I mean, the thing is, Alec, this is a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
I'm never going to have this again. And I've been on numerous shows and I've had great times and work with great people, but I'm never going to have this. This was, to get on any show is like hitting the lottery. This was like hitting the lottery twice. To get on this show and to work with these guys and girls and David and the material, it really is a once in a lifetime. That's it. It's not going to happen.
You're very lucky. But what I meant was there's no intellectual vanity with him. He wasn't always trying to show off how smart he was. When I met him and I did that interview with him, I really liked him. But I have another question for you guys, which is, if I binge TV now, if I watch a show now, and I'll probably go back and watch some Sopranos because it's because of its quality. But if I find a show and I get into it, I find that, even though The Sopranos was a remarkably violent show at times, the way it was handled was also a little more subtle. I watch shows now, and we get into season 2, and the writers write themselves into a corner, and they start blowing everybody away. They're very hyper violent. Everybody just starts plugging each other all the time. I don't want to name names, but there's a couple of shows I've watched recently where if they write themselves into a corner, and they really don't have the character drive and the actors that and the writing, like The Sopranos, that they just start shotgunning people in the bathtub. It's a fucking mess. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering, what are you guys watching now that you like?
I'm a little behind. I'm not up on like what's really current, but I really liked Ricky Gervais's Afterlife. I really loved that show. I liked what he did on that. Yeah. I think he's really, really, really funny. I don't know. I'm not up on.
I like Billions. You got to pay. Yeah, you got to pay attention. It's very tricky. I like that Afterlife. It was extremely funny and extremely sad, though. I enjoyed that a lot. I don't watch all that much television. I kind of click around in documentaries and shit.
Barry.
I'm waiting for that. When's that coming back? I'm dying for that to come back. I love that. They got to shoot season 3 this summer, apparently. Yeah. That's a good one. Going back to one thing. Go ahead.
I was just going to comment on what you said about David. The first thing we asked him was, what were you trying to do with The Sopranos? And he said, make something that I'd want to watch. And the other thing was, make something where we assume the audience is as smart as we are. Because he, made his bones in, network TV drama and a lot of good TV drama like Rockford, which I thought was a great show, but there's always that thing about over-explaining things to the audience. Exposition and network TV, has had a tradition, of doing that for a long time. But his thing, he always assumed that the audience is as smart as the people making it, and which I think was very respectful and part of the reason why people love it so much, and change things in television after that in a way.
Well, he said in real life, people don't ever say what they really feel, for the most part. And that's what he wanted to make a show. He said in real life, people don't really tell you the truth all the time. And that's what he was trying to do, which is, when you think about it, it's pretty amazing because Tony Soprano didn't tell the truth all the time, nor did most of the guys.
Well, I love that. I went back on my podcast. I just interviewed Eddie Marans, or Marsan, who was on Ray Donovan. And I went back and binged 3 seasons 5, 6, and 7, the final season, because those guys got a little blackjacked there because they thought they were going to come back for another season. But I went back and watched 3 seasons, and it was like sticking a needle in my vein. I couldn't stop watching it. And the similarity I noticed, I thought to myself, something about this show is reminded me of something, and it reminded me of The Sopranos insofar as Ray Donovan, among other things. I don't want to, define the show, but Ray Donovan to me is about a bunch of guys who the smartest thing they could all do is get as far away from each other as possible. The smartest thing they could do is never speak to each other again. The 3 brothers and the father. Everybody one moved to New Orleans, one moved to Seattle, one moved here. Get the fuck as far away from each other as you can, but they can't. There's that magnetic field that pulls them back together all the time. Like your show, where people, they could get up and leave tomorrow, but they don't. And explaining that, the weird, psychological energy field of that whole thing. Because I loved Ray. Even Ray Donovan was very violent as well, but I loved that show. Loved it.
Did you have a favorite character on The Sopranos?
Did I have a favorite? Of course. I mean, what, are you trying to insult me?
I'm asking you, who was your favorite character?
You got to be creative. Edie Falco was my favorite character. Who else?
Good answer.
How the fuck do I
was
know?
madly in love with Edie. Every man craves one thing in marriage. What do you want in marriage? You want a beautiful woman? Sure, okay. Do you want a woman whose father owns a car dealership and she's got a lot of money? Sure, why not? There's a lot of things. But what do most men who are smart and reasonable, what do they want? They want a good partner. They want a wife who's a good partner in life. And that character was a good partner. Now, let me ask Michael Imperioli this, which is, now, I turn on TV, I turn on Instagram, and there you are, a very placid. There is Michael Imperioli, famous star of Gangland television series, and he's got his big Swifty Lazar glasses on, and he's there in front of the camera, and he's doing his meditation thing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did the
I started
meditation
teaching
thing?
meditation.
Well, did the meditation come to Michael Imperioli when he landed in California, or did he bring that with him to California?
It came after I became a Buddhist about a year after The Sopranos ended. So there's definitely a connection to those things. And then when I was on Instagram, I would post a lot of stuff about Buddhism, and a lot of people started asking me how to meditate. And I would DM people, followers on meditation instructions. And it happened a lot. So I was like, maybe I should just make a video. And then it turned into this weekly class. It's the kind of thing, if it was not my own idea, if people asked for that and you could give that to them. I mean, especially this year with people so stressed out, and
it's a service.
And it just kind of came about that way.
I have not taken his class, in case you were wondering. I have not meditated.
No, not yet.
I haven't taken the fucking medication. What did you think of the ending, Alec? Did you like it, hate it?
I'm at Marcy Klein's house. We have a gang of people there. We're there for our Sopranos party. We're going to have a Sopranos party. And we watched the last episode. And we all sat there and then, of course, spent the next 2 hours sitting by the fire trying to figure out what the fuck was going on and what that was about, like the rest of the country, like the rest of America. And when I did 30 Rock, we joked about doing a 30 Rock episode like that where the lights went out, have a character sitting in a diner or whatever. And but listen, like everybody who, a good show with good actors, and I know it's tough because you guys would do how many? How many was a season? How many
13,
shows?
13.
Yeah, so that was that's always great. It's good television when you can do a strong 13 and there's not that pressure to do 22, and when you can do a strong 12, 10, 12, 13, and you got a writer who's the caliber of Chase, it's always a great thing. And I think everybody was like, when it ended, people were bummed. It'd be a good television show. It's like a good book. It's like a great movie. A great television show, a show like The Sopranos is like a Dickens novel. It's like To Kill a Mockingbird or On the Waterfront. in your cultural pantry of the things you consume and you want to have, a great television show becomes a really important part of your life. And when it ends, you're pretty pissed off. You're like, shit, I don't want this to end. Give me 2 more seasons, just 2 more. You know what I mean? But everything, as we know, it all has to end.
I thought at the time, David wanted to end it and Jim wanted to end it. And I kind of thought, and I told Michael this, I always thought Christopher could have taken over the family, bring in a few more Goombas in, and you could have dragged it on for another season or 2. But now that I'm, rewatched them again, I think the show ended exactly when it was supposed to end. David, once again, was right,
Yeah. I put my money on Chase. I put my money on Chase.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, listen, brother, thank you for doing this today. We're really happy you came on and joined us, and it really means a lot. And I know you did the DVD. You worked with Jim. You worked with Aida. We met in Elaine Aiken's class in the '80s when Ventimiglia was there, and Sharon Angela. That woman was a big influence on my life. So you have, and your brother was on The Sopranos. So there's a lot of cross-culture references here and connections. So I'm glad you did the podcast today.
I'll show you how this is one of the great, I'll finish with one of the great pathetic, desperate actors' stories. And that is, I go to Jimmy's memorial service. And I'm at Jimmy's memorial service, and there's his first wife and his second wife and the son and nearly all of the cast of the show and everybody who's there to pay the respects to Jimmy. I'm at the memorial, and I guess Jimmy was going to do the night of with Zalian.
That's right.
And he doesn't live to go on with that. And they were going to recast, and there was rumors they were going to cast De Niro and this one. And I sit down, and Zalian is sitting behind me at the memorial service. And we're at Jimmy's memorial service to celebrate the life of this great guy. And it was all I could do to keep from turning around and pitching myself to Zalian. Replace Jimmy in the night of. I really had to kind of squeeze my hand and say, don't do it. You'll never be in a room with Zalian. This is your chance. And I didn't do it out of my love and respect for Jimmy. But anyway.
That's funny.
That's what actors do, Alec. That's what we do.
Alec, Jim did the pilot, but I tell you, that was a great series. A very underrated, that didn't get enough attention. That was great, yeah.
That kid Riz Ahmed is a great actor. He's a great actor. I love him.
Thank you very much, man. Fellas, take care of yourself.
Thank you both. You guys are responsible for some of the greatest nights of my life watching TV, and thank you for that always. Okay.
Thank you. Best to you and your family, man. Thank you.
Take care, man.
Take care, pal. Wow, that was great,
Alec
man.
Baldwin,
that was great. I really enjoyed talking to him. Let's take a break, and we'll be back. Very good, man. Alec Baldwin. That was very nice of him to come on, and great interview. He's like another Soprano cast member.
He's an honorary Soprano, without a doubt.
He's a good guy and a good fan, and thanks for doing that. Now, somebody sent me this.
Who sent
first of all, I want to show you something that I don't think you have.
I don't have it.
Collector's item.
Do you wear that around your neck?
Yeah, like what's Flavor Flav? Is that it? A bada bing. Bada bing. It's here in my garage. I keep it in my garage.
Great. So you know what time it is.
I know what time it is at all times.
And what time zone is that set to? Is it set to New Jersey time?
It is set to California time.
Wow.
California time. Now, somebody sent me The Sopranos characters ranked by wealth.
And who sent you this? You can't say?
A friend, it's just a guy, Lee Kernis, friend of mine. He's a manager. He thought this might be interesting. He's an avid fan of the Talking Sopranos podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
He watches or listens to every episode.
That's pretty cool.
And he sent me this yesterday. I thought it might be interesting to bring it up.
All right.
Lee Curtis handles a lot of writers and big people. Susie Essman is one of his clients
I
for
like
Curb
Susie.
Your Enthusiasm.
She's great.
Sopranos characters ranked by wealth.
Okay.
Okay?
So Tony's number one, right?
Yeah, we'll get to
He's the
that.
boss.
Let's start at the bottom.
Oh, the bottom.
Junior Soprano. Despite being quite high in the ranks, Junior Soprano was never wealthy. Either that or he squirreled it away and never flaunted his wealth. He lives very modestly throughout much of the series. We've talked about this.
Right, but he's got to have money. He's a boss.
His house is a typical inner city dwelling, small, modest, and stuck in a different time period. He drives a simple car. Television is a small tube type.
No cable till later in the show.
A vast difference from the modern one seen in Tony's house. There's nothing in Junior's life to suggest he has vast sums of cash. Artie Bucco. He's the proprietor of a fancy restaurant, but he's not wealthy himself. His lack of wealth is made into a small character moment in the first season. Following the destruction of his restaurant, Artie and Charmaine are forced to move into a modest house. So, two of those characters, Junior, they're saying...
But Junior had to pay the lawyers. Remember that a lot? And he had the money to pay big time lawyers.
He made money, but he didn't have any money.
I think he was just really cheap, and he had a lot of money and just had it somewhere sitting.
Like a lot of these guys. You see where they live. A lot of these big mob guys, the modern day mobster is much more flashy. The car.
Yeah, they want to live more, they want to live.
They want to show people that they're wealthy.
Not just that, they want to be, they also want to enjoy the fruits of their labors a little bit. The older guys also liked keeping under, like Carlo Gambino lived in a very modest house in Brooklyn. They liked keeping
I think
under the radar.
Fat Tony Salerno also.
Yeah.
Paulie Gualtieri.
Paulie Walnuts.
He's successful within the mafia, and while he constantly remains one of Tony's go-to men, he's got little ambition. This is hilariously summed up in his conversation with Christopher. Chris asks, you ever feel like nothing good was ever going to happen to you? Paulie says, yeah, and nothing did. So what?
Right. And Paulie's got no wife. He's got no kids. It's just him. He doesn't really need that much money.
He doesn't live extravagant. He's shown to live in a nice, if unremarkable, condo. Like Junior, it's likely that Paulie does have money. He's just happy living a simple life. He's just not spending it.
You look at the other guys who have kids. They send them to Catholic schools or private schools. They're going to send them to college. They want to live in a nice house. They're going to have 2 cars. It's like a very different thing than Paulie
Walnuts. They live
Walnuts.
a small life. Simplify. Bobby Bacala.
So what number?
He was high ranking. He rose up the ranks with his work with Junior, having run his own loan shark business. It's obvious that Bobby has some money, according to this. He's got a nice house. He's able to look after his children after Karen's death. He also owns a secluded cabin in upstate New York, and those certainly don't come cheap.
Back then they did.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
Bobby lives a very kind of quiet, not an exciting life, though. Like, he doesn't like the highs and lows. He's not really a gambler. He doesn't cheat on his wife. He doesn't really blow a lot of money. You know what I mean? He doesn't like drugs. He doesn't like,
He likes trains and he likes to eat.
He likes to take care of his family.
That's it.
Yeah.
Ralph Cifaretto. He's one of Tony's biggest antagonists. He was a good earner, respected member of the mob.
One of the bigger earners in the family. Yeah.
Ralphie lives a nice life, inhabiting a townhouse before moving in with Rosalie April. While he doesn't live as extravagantly as Tony Soprano, he is never shown to be wanting. He's a great earner, and he likes to make good money. He's also a nice dresser, doesn't he?
Fancy dresser, nice? Yeah, I think fancy cars. He lived in Miami for a while.
He likes drugs. He's a drug guy, a lot of blow. All right. Silvio Dante. The show never delved into his life the way it delved into a lot of other characters, right? His house is barely shown, but the brief glimpses awarded to viewers are enough to speak on Silvio's economic standing. He lives in a very nice house, and it's obvious Silvio has a great sense of style. He's a consigliere throughout much of the series, serving as Tony's number 2. He has the wealth befitting his high-ranking position.
And the Bada Bing was, that's he's got a big piece
That's
of
a
that.
moneymaker. Strip clubs make a lot of money.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
not kid ourselves.
And he has he put a lot of effort into that. He picked the girls and the music. Like, he was very much on top of that. He ran it very well.
It's a cash business.
Big business, yeah.
Richie Aprile, despite 10 years in prison, Richie is very quick to reestablish himself within the mob. Unlike Paulie, Richie's incredibly ambitious, and if it's that ambition that often gets him into hot water with Tony. Largely, he sells cocaine with Junior Soprano on the pre-established garbage routes. His various criminal enterprises ensured him lots of money, and one of the last scenes of Ari Richie sees him and Janice buying that huge mansion.
Right.
So Richie came out of the can and he got right to work.
Right to work, and not in a lot of time either. In a short amount of time, he earned a lot of money. Yeah, that's true.
So what do you think of this so far?
That's pretty accurate.
Okay. Christopher.
I think Junior has more money than,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just doesn't spend it.
Christopher begins the series as a poor foot soldier. He complains of his low-ranking position to his girlfriend, Adriana, feeling his work deserves more recognition. They begin the series living in a small apartment, a shitty apartment. You got nice leather furniture, but that was a shitty, crappy apartment.
Small apartment, yeah.
Like a junkie's apartment.
I wouldn't go that far. It wasn't
Chris's work within the mafia is recognized. He's promoted to acting captain and eventually captain before his death. Instead, Christopher moves into a much larger house. His work is paid off, quite literally. And don't you get a Maserati at one point, right?
Maserati, Range Rover. What else? I think he had a Mercedes at one point, too.
So Christopher did well.
He did well, but I think he just spent a lot of money. I don't know how much money he has in the bank. Towards the end, he was doing really good when he gets married and he has the kid. Yeah. He had the big house, but I doubt he had a lot of money in the bank or in the mattress. He probably spent a lot.
Tony Soprano. No surprise here. He's consistently shown to be incredibly wealthy, complete with his now iconic mansion. The house is enormous, and it comes equipped with a huge backyard and swimming pool. Tony eventually builds himself a little home theater in the backyard. That was a nice touch. Complete with massive TV and state-of-the-art sound system. He eats at Vesuvio's on a regular basis and flaunts his wealth in a somewhat arrogant manner.
He likes to live large, huh?
Johnny Sack is number 1. He's richer than Tony Soprano, according to this.
Well, that may make sense because I would imagine the New York families make more money.
Being the leader of the New York mob is guaranteed to generate some good money.
Yeah.
Johnny has a massive New Jersey house, a gorgeous modern mansion that makes Tony's house look like Uncle June's. Of course, the good times don't last forever. Johnny's sent to prison. He gets sick. It's then that Tony buys the house from Johnny, gifting it to Janice.
Janice made out all right.
And Janice turned out all right. So there you go, folks.
That's good. That's interesting. Yeah,
that's the Sopranos' character's wealth. I thought it was pretty accurate.
It is pretty
like it. Hey, Michael, before we get into this episode, so, there's a few people I want to mention. My daughter got married recently.
Yeah. How was it?
Oh, it was fantastic.
I just going to say this. I have a feeling if we weren't doing this podcast, I probably would have been there.
Why is it?
I think because we were very good friends before we started this. And I kind of think I probably would have been invited if this didn't get between us,
Maybe you would have been invited.
Kind of how that was my thought, at least.
Yeah, I'm sorry I left you off, but work in pleasure doesn't work in business. It doesn't,
You're absolutely right, Steve.
It doesn't work out.
No, it doesn't.
What do they say? Don't ever work with your fan. Go into business with your friends and family. But
It says,
I
let
just want to
sleeping
say,
dogs lie.
I just want to say, seriously, it was a beautiful wedding. She married a good guy, Mike Buccarelli, and there were so many people. It wasn't a lot of people, Michael. It was only 17 people, but we had it at Danico Restaurant on Mulberry Street.
How was the food there?
It was
I've
fantastic.
never been there, and I want to
We got to go. We got to go. It's been there 30 years. Danico, they have a nice courtyard in the back, which is why we wanted it there. It's between the buildings.
Did you try the eggplant?
I did not have the eggplant.
I want to try the eggplant.
But I did have, they have the flower blossoms that I like with the ricotta.
Oh, that's good.
They had all kinds of
When that's good, that's good.
They have a Dover Soul was great. I had a great band. We had mariachis, just great. The cake was made by Veneros on 11th Street, which we like.
In the East Village, yeah.
Been there 125 years. 11th and 1st. Robert Zarelli made a beautiful strawberry shortcake. If you want a wedding cake or any kind of cake or cookies, fantastic. Broadway Elite. Brian and Gary Wexler, they did the cars. And I just want to say,
and Broadway Elite are just fantastic.
If you need
The
a car,
best.
if you're back east, you need a car, or really all over the country.
Yeah.
They do it all over the country.
They're the best.
Broadway Elite, I'm telling you, the greatest drivers, no problem, no bullshit.
Most reliable, safest, easy,
yes.
good personalities, professional, excellent.
So it was a beautiful day, and we did it Our Lady of Guadalupe in Bensonhurst, where it's not far from my house in where I grew up in Brooklyn. Father Dominic is a good cat, and it was a beautiful day. I wish them
Did you tip the
best of
priest?
luck. A boost?
You tipped the priest?
Sure.
You did, right?
Sure.
Good.
Got to give give the guy a boost. You got to. He did a great job.
All right. Congratulations to
Thank you very
Bria
much.
and her husband, and God bless.
I have another. When my daughter Sierra gets married, I'll certainly consider sending you an invitation.
That would depend on, where we stand at that
Well,
point.
the podcast will be over by then, so maybe we'll get along better.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Well, season 5, episode 9. This is Unidentified Black Males, aired May 2nd, 2004. The title, there's several examples when they blame things that happen within the mob on black guys. Tony B, in this episode, talks about why he's limping. Tony Soprano, when he didn't show up for the hijack, when Tony B gets arrested, he blames on black guys. Jackie Aprile, they blame that shooting. I think first on black guys, then on Chinese people. And then little Paulie's head, when he gets cracked in the head with the Snapple bottle,
Vio says we're going to blame a couple of black guys.
So this is a common excuse, cover-up thing that they use. This episode was written by Matt Weiner. Episode 3 out of his 12 that he wrote. Terrence Winter. This is number 9 out of his 19. Directed by Tim Van Patten. The 12th out of his 20. I did hear that the limp that Steve Buscemi has in this episode that was inspired by Steve Buscemi was in the play Resistible Rise of Arturo Ui, the Bertolt Brecht play that Simon McBurney directed, that
Incredible
Pacino starred in it. Johnny Ventimiglia was in it. Dominic was in it.
John Goodman.
Billy Crudup. A lot of good actors.
Tony Randall.
And Steve Buscemi had a pretty big part, and he limped. And somehow I've heard that this made its way into the episode because most of the Soprano cast and writers went to see the production because it was in the middle of our run.
I never got to see it. I went down there. It was at Pace University.
It was great. Al was phenomenal, and so was the rest of the cast.
Well, I wasn't able to see it. I was only in town for a few days. I was back and forth to Vegas there, and I met Johnny.
John Ventimiglia?
Yeah, I met Johnny after the show, and he was playing pool with John Goodman. John Goodman was fucked up. Falling down, fucked up. Playing
Theater
pool.
actors. That's what they do.
I mean, god damn, I was jealous, actually. I wish I was fucked up. I was sober. But I never saw the play, unfortunately.
It was great. I've seen Al Pacino in that. I saw him do Chinese Coffee with, he did it with Dominic. And I saw him do
I saw him with Bobby
Oedipus.
I saw Bobby Cannavale, Glengarry.
So the first thing I saw was American Buffalo in I think it was 83 or 84. And it was out of this world. That was
Toro Hui, originally, I think it was done with Christopher Walken, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really? At the when it was in New York, way back.
I believe so. I could be wrong, and I'm sure the fans out there will let me know.
Yeah, it's it's a play that's really kind of about the rise of Hitler, basically.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah, it's thinly disguised, really. But what I was going to also say is, this episode really has three big storylines. You got you got the Tony Carmella, you got Meadow and Finn and their stuff, and then you got the Tony B thing that's going on with within the New York families and the tension with the murder of Joey Peeps.
We start out Tony's house in the backyard. They're watching TV. It's Tony's, Livia's house. It's a shitty setup. Obviously.
They're watching the Mets. Were they Met fan? Was Tony Soprano a Met fan? I don't remember exactly.
I guess. I don't think he was a Yankee fan. It never really came up that much. We know he was a Jet fan.
Yeah.
Right? I think he was a Jet fan.
Yeah.
Bobby Bacala was a Giant fan. We know Vito, and we see later on, is a Yankee fan.
Is a Yankee fan, yeah.
And Finn is a Padre fan.
Yeah,
so got a little
interesting.
baseball in here. Tony Soprano is wearing on his head, he's wearing a cold towel because it's really hot. And if you remember, David mentioned that at Jim's funeral, that he saw Jim with his between takes of maybe it was this show, I don't know, between takes, his pant legs were rolled up and he had a cold towel on his head like you see in this scene. And he makes mention of that, David, in the eulogy because it reminded him of his uncles. He never really saw a lot of people do that, and Jim did that to stay cool on a hot day. You got a cold rag, and that's what Tony Soprano's doing here.
Do you do that?
I do not do that.
Because you're very sensitive to temperature, aren't you?
I fucking sweat my balls off, and I do not do that. It doesn't seem to work. I was always like Vito in this episode with the fan.
With the fan.
I used to always have a fan, and I have a fan in my dressing room now.
And when you stay in a hotel, you call ahead and you say, I need a fan.
I have to have a fan. Have a fan. I have three. Yeah. In my house, I have a family room. I have a fan. My bedroom, I have a fan. I have a fan in the living room. And I also sleep with a fan all year long, 365 days a year. Cold and not cold.
Really?
Yes.
Now that I didn't know.
I have to sleep. My poor wife, she's got to put up with it.
Wow.
Sacrifice. So he's talking about they're eating nachos. He's saying it's all, the cheese is sweaty. He says a crazy Rasta used to make grilled cheese on the radiator.
Right.
My father was in jail for a while for bookmaking years ago, and he said they used to make steaks on the radiator.
Really?
Yeah, underneath the gang, something there with the heat. They used to somehow make steaks. Yeah. He says, what happened to your foot? He says, 2 black guys jumped me outside a bar in Irvington. It's really a bad lie because you could kind of see what? It's just his foot. He's not beat up. There's no marks, no scratches.
No, and if it really happened, he'd be way more specific. He would have told him right away. That's the kind of story you tell in great detail, how it happened, what went down, what happened.
And then
Tony doesn't believe him.
No. So right there, all right? Restaurant.
The old homestead, you've been there, right? Or did you
they bang you over the head. If you want to get busted out, banged over your head, price-wise.
I don't think I've ever been there. But, there was a little bar.
Next door.
next door.
Right next door. Nice little bar.
Now, Jim had a thing that happened there. Do you know that story?
No. I've been in there. Maybe I was in there with Jim.
Jim went in one night. No, he was by himself. And
a little bar.
There was somebody we know who worked for Wise Guys. And there were two guys we know who worked for Wise Guys in the bar. And they were shaking down or intimidating the owner or the bartender or something way in the corner. And they knew Jim. So Jim sees them and he goes, hey. And they look at him and Jim told me this story. They looked at him like they never, and they were friends. Jim hung out with these guys. They looked at Jim like, get the fuck out of here. They didn't even say hello. They just stared at him, and Jim just turned around and walked right out.
Well,
both of those guys are dead.
Really?
They're gone, yeah, but you knew them too. I'll tell you who they are later. I don't want to mention them on the air, but so there was some weird shit going on in that bar.
Well, yeah, I was in there. A couple times. The old homestead, that's the original. David talks about it. Don't you remember? He told us about it, that after the pilot, him and Jim went to dinner there, and Jim picked him up in a bear hug. And don't you remember?
Right. Yeah.
Picked him up in a bear hug. And old homestead, that's the original one that's been there, I don't know, 100 years?
Over 100 years, I think.
It's in the meatpacking district. It's very, very expensive. It's very good.
But a lot of steakhouses are expensive.
Yeah, but there's one in Atlantic City at the Borgata, very popular. There's one. The owner's a nice guy. I forget his name, Stu maybe. And there's one in Caesar's Palace. But
in Vegas?
In Vegas, yeah. Finn, they're having dinner. He meets Finn, AJ.
The waiter who comes over, his name is Dimo DiMartile. Now, he is some kind of spiritual healer and guide. He has this one light, one spirit. I guess I don't know if it's a church or some kind of thing. And he's an expert in hypnotherapy. He does Hawaiian Huna healing, Kundalini meditation. The waiter who comes over.
So he's not an actor.
He was or he is, but now he's this spiritual.
You know him?
No, I don't know him. I want to see if you knew him.
You believe in that bullshit? I don't believe
what bullshit?
In that. That bullshit that he's...
Hypnotherapy?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Hypnosis is bullshit?
Well, it's bullshit.
No.
Listen to me. I had a hypnotist named Frank Santos.
No, not those guys who make people take their clothes off on stage in Vegas.
He used to make them do push-ups on stage like they were humping.
But you know how they do that. You know how it works, right?
No, I don't know how it works.
So they come out on stage, right? And they start, there's an audience, and they start saying stuff like this. Everybody who's from New York, stand up. Everybody from the East Coast, sit down. Everybody who left-handed, stand up, and he does this to see who participates the most in the audience.
All right.
So he's weeding out, he's trying to see who's eager to participate. And then they key in on those people. That's how that works.
Yeah, but some people could be hypnotized, some people can't. It's all in your mind.
You have to want to, but that's what I'm saying. You weed out the people who don't want to be.
And he used to do it. He used to make people cluck like chickens and shit. I used to book him a lot. He was a terrific guy. He passed away.
But look, there's people, who even in movies or TV, right? There's certain things you never would do in a movie, right? There's certain roles, there's certain things you'd say, no, I'm not gonna stand here in my underwears, and be, in the cold and with my, hand up my, whatever it is, you know what I mean? There's certain things you wouldn't do. They're humiliating. There's some people don't mind doing those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are the type of people who can be hypnotized. I couldn't be hypnotized.
No.
Are you kidding me?
Me neither. That's what I'm saying.
But some people can. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Remember the old days? They would get the
that's real.
Pocket watch?
That's true. That's how they do
it. So Finn here, trying to be a good guy, a regular guy, gets up, says, I got to go to the bathroom. He picks up the check.
Which is a very nice thing to do.
Very nice thing to do. Very generous. And Tony way overreacts to this. He embarrasses the kid. There's one thing to say, hey, I got it, but he embarrasses him. And I think he really overreacted to this, Tony Soprano.
Do you think he does it because he doesn't like him?
No, I think
He's
he
a nice
likes him.
kid, good family. He's
think
at
he
Columbia. He wants to be a dentist. This is a good match for Meadow, right?
I think he likes him. I just think I don't know what it is. Listen, we go out to dinner a lot, or we used to anyway. I pick up the check, you pick up the check, we split the check. I do it because I want to. If I like you enough to go to dinner with you, I like you enough to pick up the check. Then there's jerk offs that are looking for you to pick up the check. Right? You know those people.
That happens. Sure.
Kind of a plan. Oh, I go out with them. I'm not going to even go in my pocket. They don't even go in the vicinity. They have alligator arms, you know. They don't even go anywhere near their pockets. We both know those people. I don't want to mention names here, but there's a lot of them, motherfuckers. So
There's a lot of them.
there's a lot of fucking freeloaded motherfuckers out there, and we're generous guys. And I think Finn just trying to do the right thing, not trying to show off, not trying to undermine Tony Soprano. He takes it the wrong way.
I agree.
He goes to the bathroom, cut your mother a break, because they had maximum security summer. Casa Carmela. Meadow throws a little zinger in there. And Tony is pissed off. He throws hundreds down. It looks like maybe $400 or $500.
He also defends Carmella.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got to tell you this. This whole episode, Jamie Lynn Sigler is terrific in this episode. She's always great. She's matured as a character and matured as an actor.
As an actor, yeah. She's really good. And so is Will Janowitz in this.
Great. They're great.
I love his stuff in this.
You see Jamie Lynn, I'm not saying that she was great from day one, but really matured as an actress here. Tony's embarrassed, I think. You know, he scares Finn. You know, sometimes it's nice someone else picks up the check.
Well, I think then he feels like he went over the top. So outside the place, he actually apologizes, and he realizes the kid was just trying to do something nice. The kid apologizes too, and Tony does as well. So
I respect you trying. He says, Carmella and Gabriella, Maureen Van Zandt are talking on the couch. First, I'm thinking, which I think they meant it, I thought it was the teacher she was talking about. Didn't you think?
You thought that was intentional to have that confusion?
Yeah,
listen, just because the last episode they had, they slept together.
I know, but it says, they sent flowers. He called afterwards. I'm thinking in my head, she's telling him about women.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because when he left, he just left in the morning, didn't say goodbye or nothing.
Yeah.
And she, I guess, you see it here. She really wants to be back with him.
She says he fell asleep right after. And he slept out. Oh, she definitely wants to be with him. He was very sweet. She's smitten again,
Yeah, and she's expecting. Yeah, she's expecting him to come over now. And he said he was going to drop off AJ and come say hello, and he doesn't. He just drops him off in the driveway. He's in a rush. Gives money to AJ to give to her. Tell her to give a kiss from me. She saves face and says, "Last thing I needed was to talk to him right now." But obviously, she really wanted to.
Absolutely. Tony Johnny Sack are playing golf.
Now, you don't play golf, do you?
No, I've never played in my life.
No, you don't play golf. No,
Not
neither
my
do
thing.
I. I've never played, not once.
Never played, not once.
And it looks like Jim doesn't know how to play either.
No, Jim's not.
He doesn't know.
Jim was a good athlete, but not a golfer.
He doesn't have a good. Johnny Sack's swing is not bad, I have to say.
Yeah, and also Stevie Van Zandt is pretty good golfer.
Loves golf.
And he, at one point, used to play a lot. Johnny V golfed.
He's a golfer?
He was a golfer. I told you he golfed he got into an argument with Whitey Ford.
Right.
At Tony Darrow's golf tournament. Him and Whitey Ford were bickering.
Yeah, I wish I was a fly on the wall there. Johnny Sack says Joey Peeps, loved golf. And Tony says it's sad when they go young. which is not the right thing to say.
No, not at all. He says, I don't know. I picked him out of the chorus.
Great
Johnny
line.
Sack says, Joe Peep sends Ginny a Grandma's of Maine coffee cake every Christmas.
Right.
I don't know how, he says, how she's going to take it. You know, Jim here plays this so fantastic.
Fantastic.
I mean, so
You know,
fantastic.
when they finally sit him down and he's looking up at Johnny Sack as if for an answer to something, like help me or what's going on. Like he's so
bleeding.
good in
The
this.
guy's got to take the golf club out of his hand. I mean, that's as believable as it gets.
It's perfect. It's really just perfect. The twice he looks up at Johnny when he's sitting down, like a kid, like looking at his father or something. It was really, it's fantastic.
It's really, you know, people think it's, you know, some people think it's so easy to do.
No.
It's hard. It's hard stuff. They're having a meeting. Little Carmine, Rusty, Eddie, and Angelo have a meeting. Little Carmine talks out of his fucking ass.
Well, and there's a little bit of the George W. Bush thing. He's got the big cowboy belt on. And the malaprops and the way he's talking, it'll be hard to verify that I think I'll be more effective. Like W. Bush was known for some of those kind of, verbal gaffes.
Historical changes have come out of war. Frankie Valli's very good here. As far as I'm concerned, it's a new day.
Carmine wants to be boss. He's ready to go to war.
Decided.
You know which is interesting because when we first see him, the first few episodes, it seems like he doesn't want to be involved.
Yeah.
And the last thing he would want is war and violence and bloodshed. But here he's like, he's ready. He's all in.
We pissed on a bee's nest, Angelo says. We could have had a sit down. Well, at first, I think little Carmine's enjoying. He's got a nice looking wife. He's down in Miami. He's got the boat. He's got a beautiful house.
He doesn't have a worry in the world.
What does he need to come back up here and fuck around for? I don't get it, you know? Meadows' apartment. You know what I noticed? I mean, it looks so real. You know, the set design, Bob Shaw, and it's just so great. It looks like a real New York apartment. And out the window, I don't know, what do you call it when they have the screens? So that's on the soundstage, Meadows' apartment. And when you look out the window, there's a building next door, but they have the giant screen.
It's a photograph on a screen. Like a scrim, I think? Did they call that a scrim? Maybe.
A giant photograph, like giant.
And they backlight it often.
Yeah. So a lot of times you see a backyard, you see buildings, you see, all kinds of stuff, but it's fake. But it looks very real.
They had it at the Soprano house set.
That's correct. And Meadows' apartment looks like half shitty. The air conditioning doesn't work. They live near Columbia. Not a great place. It's a young couple's place,
Yeah.
And she said, don't open the window. And you can see the building next to it because the garbage smells. It's all very real,
Yeah.
They lay in bed. They talk about the future.
He needs a job. Finn needs a job. Because his parents aren't really going to take care of him, and there's tension
They
in the
talk
relationship.
about Mission Viejo. That's right down the road from where I am.
Oh, that's Orange County?
That's Orange County. Mission Viejo.
Is it
very
rich?
Close. Okay.
No.
I don't think it's not, Malibu.
Yeah.
It's okay. Nice houses. You're not far from the water, He could work as a PA for Josh's dad,
Who's a photographer.
Meadow is extremely insecure.
Yeah.
When
Very
it comes
insecure,
to the guys.
very jealous, very suspicious.
Vince is working with the models. Finn's broke. He's got no money. She wants to pick a fight. It's hot. It's sweaty. They're irritated. I gave up junior year abroad so we could be together. I could come out west with you. Very clingy.
Yeah.
This is the turnoff.
Yeah, she's clingy. He's trying to figure out he needs a job, where it's going to be, and
She might be one of them girls constantly texting. Where are you? Who you with? What are you doing?
Yeah.
When are you coming home? One of those fucking things.
Sure.
Soprano House. Lee Neiman. Now you know who Lee Neiman is, right?
That's Sid Davidoff.
Who is married to Linda Stasi.
Well, he's a famous lawyer. He was on Nixon's enemy list. He was one of 20 people on Nixon's enemy list. On the list, it said he was a close aide to Mayor Lindsay in New York. And on the list, it said, Davidoff's Lindsay's top aide, a first-class son of a bitch, wheeler dealer, and possible bag man. That's what it said.
Well, he's a big guy.
On the list.
I've met him. And he's married. I don't know if he was married then, but to Linda Stasi, who was a reporter, TV, just a reporter, a journalist for the New York Post and then the Daily News.
One of the ways he got on Nixon's shit list was he lowered the when Kent State happened. You know, the four students were shot by the National Guard of Kent, Ohio. Nixon refused to lower the flag to half-mast in honor of those kids. And he did it. And he got on the shit list.
Nixon got was really a cocksucker, huh?
Bad guy, yeah. He also, Sid Davidoff also was the mediator. 1968, there was a big protest at Columbia University. They actually took the dean hostage. And Sid Davidoff was a mediator to get the kids to release the dean.
Well, you know, for a guy that's not an actor, he's very good here.
He knows what he's talking about, that's
very,
for sure.
Very good. Yes. I mean, it's just a phone call, but he is really good. I think he's 81 years old now. He's a guy that I would not fuck with, I'm sure.
He did a really good job there, and we find out that Tony spoke to him. So, you know, there's another lawyer that Carmela can't use. And then we cut to the bear during this call, right? The bear in the backyard. Now, we know that's your worst nightmare is a bear in the house, right? Or in the backyard.
Well, a rat first. I'll take a bear before a rat.
But you have a phobia with bears, no? Don't you?
I don't have a phobia with bears. I got a phobia with fucking rats.
I thought you had a phobia with bears.
No.
Wouldn't you go out with the pots and pans in the backyard to get...
Me?
At night? Yeah, before you went out in the backyard at night, you'd make sure they would run away.
Okay.
Wasn't that you? Didn't you? In Vegas.
That wasn't me. That must be the other podcast you do. I don't know.
That was in Vegas, no? There's lots of bears in Vegas.
No, I told you there was peacocks in my backyard. Peacocks, not bears.
Peacocks. That's
peacocks.
Right. I'm getting confused.
They scared me. I look out the fucking window. I was fucking scared of peacocks.
They make weird noises, right?
And they take weird shits all in my backyard, early in the morning.
What do they sound like?
I forget. I lived out in the desert there, you know. I mean, I lived out in the desert.
I don't see you in the desert. I don't know. I'll tell you the truth. It doesn't seem like your natural
25
habitat.
Years. 25 years out in the desert. You know? She says, I don't understand. Why is my husband so picky? And he explains to him, you could figure that out. So there's a thing, I guess, in most states, or maybe all states, if the one spouse goes to see all these different attorneys, then they can't represent the other spouse. It's a conflict of interest.
And Tony gets on top of that, and
he's manipulating the system. Obviously, good advice, probably from Neil Mink.
Right.
Bada bing, back room. Silvio and Christopher play pool. Paulie, Vito, little Paulie, Tony B play cards. Vito's good in these card scenes. I like him. He's good in this episode.
He's really good. He's actually excellent in this episode. They talk about the brains being splattered, and Paulie Walnut says Joe Peeps couldn't have been too much to clean up. And
little Paulie says, I heard the hooker got shot in the chest, must have been silicone everywhere.
And Paulie don't like that he stole his little punchline there.
Took the air right out of my whole fucking punchline, asshole. And he says Johnny's taking care of the internment. I'm thinking we should pick up the headstone. He puts Jason on it, played by Willie DeMeo.
Our buddy Willie DeMeo plays Jason. He's going to get the marble guy to take care of the headstone.
All right, so Tony and Tony B, they talk outside. The bada bing. Tony comes in with an attitude. He says, I want to talk to you. Everybody looks, goes outside. Turns out somebody got to look at the guy that did Joe Peeps. All they've got so far, he's got a bad limp. He makes a stupid joke. Long John Silver, maybe.
Do you like Treasure Island, the movie?
Did you see it when you were a kid?
I haven't seen it. I like Long John Silver Fish and Chips.
Robert Newton
That's what you
plays Long John Silver in the movie. It's a Treasure Island's a great. Do you like pirates? Were you into that as a kid?
No,
Pirates?
I'm scared of pirates. Scared of
You're
pirates.
scared of pirates, yeah.
Pirates are scary, no?
They could be scary. Well, the real ones are really scary.
I mean, when I was a kid in Coney Island, young, really young, there was a band. Seriously, a 3-piece band. The guys were dressed like pirates, and they were in the window of like a bar, but you could see them from the outside, like really see them.
Yeah.
It was very scary to me. That was a little traumatized by pirates. And then the Tom Hanks movie.
Do you know why pirates wore? I heard that they wore earrings to pay for their funeral.
To pay for their funeral?
Yeah.
So if they died, you take the earring out that paid for
Somebody
the funeral.
could pay for the funeral.
Wow.
I also heard that they allowed men to marry within the pirate community. I'm not kidding either. I read that in a book.
So
That
gay
it was
pirates.
and they were on the ocean for years at a time.
So you think they fell in love with each other?
They did, and there was marriage was and also like to the point where they would divide the money, like and they would make sure that the spouses would be taken care of and stuff like that.
Really?
That's what I read. Yeah, I read this really interesting article.
I've
about
never
pirates.
heard of that.
Yeah, they're way ahead of their time, pirates. See?
Very interesting. Very interesting. Do you like when you used to eat fish? Did you like Long John Silver?
I never even heard of it. What is it?
That's a fish and chips place.
Not in New York.
Maybe not in New York, but
Where do
they're
they
out
have it?
west. They're out west.
No. By the time I was out west, I wasn't eating fish. Yeah, no. Arthur Treacher's, I used to go as a kid. Remember Arthur Treacher's?
Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips.
He had that in New York. I used to
Arthur
go there.
Treacher was a real guy. I don't know what he did.
He was an actor.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
That's what's going to happen to me. Steve Schirripa's Fish and Chips. You
Right.
think I'll do good with that?
Bacala.
Bacala. We taught the world to eat.
Bacala's
salted
bacala.
cod. Bacala and chips.
Bobby's bacala and chips. There you go.
He says, all right, we got to Tony. So Tony's all up his ass. I know you did it. He denies it. I know you're not earning what you expect. He gives him the casino.
Well, first he's really pissed off. And he's like, you're playing the cousin card and the guilt trip and this. And Tony B's like, no, you're really the one who's doing that. I know you're smart. You got a high IQ. Do you know your IQ?
No.
I don't know mine.
I don't think mine would be very high, to be honest.
But I mean, who knows what
I'm a
these...
common sense guy, you know? You're like a book smart guy. Even though I'm a college graduate, you're a bookie.
And I'm not.
You're not a college graduate. You're a very intelligent guy. I'm a street, you know me. You know me a long time. Can't I wheel and deal? I get things done.
But that's why a test like this might not measure that. And that is a form of intelligence, you know what I mean? So people are smart in different ways. That's why
I get it done. I
wouldn't put too much stock in a test like that, Testing, I find, with students is...
a lot of people just don't test well, like they don't audition well.
Exactly.
You
know who's one of the worst auditioners? And he's one of the best actors in the world?
Who?
Benicio del Toro.
Really?
Terrible auditioner. And he'd be the first to say it. I was in a room when he said it. I got cast in a movie, an indie movie, around I was probably about 93, 94. And they needed to cast a guy to play my friend and a girl who was like a love triangle. So I go out to LA and with the casting people, we see a lot of actors. Benicio comes in. I didn't know who he was. And he says, I'm a really bad auditioner. And he is bad. He's not a good auditioner at all. But then we see a piece of his tape, I think from Basquiat or some early movie, and he's a genius. He's one of the best. Juliana Margulies comes in before ER, and I knew her already from New York. She was a great auditioner. So I'm like, you got to cast these two people. They're both brilliant. Director winds up going two other actors who were far, far less talented than those two, and I wound up backing out.
Wow. And now, if those two actors still working, the ones they picked.
One's dead and one works sometimes, yeah. But Benicio is,
I worked with him on Fear and Loathing, him and Johnny Depp. I had a
he's
scene.
tremendous.
Me, Richard Portnow.
Right.
Mel Blanc,
You told me that.
Me,
And
Richard Portnow, Benicio, and Johnny Depp. We shot it at the Coconut Grove in L.A. before they knocked it down at the Ambassador Hotel, where Bobby Kennedy got shot. You know who's not a good auditioner? Steve Buscemi told me he was horrible auditioner, and that I think I talked about it on the show, I'm not sure. Barry Levinson, he read for Tin Man. And he went in to read for one of the main guys, and he read it, and Barry Levinson gave him some notes, and he read it exactly the same way that he read it the first time. And Steve said he looked at him and said, I just did the exact same thing I did. He went, yeah, you did. He says he's a terrible auditioner.
Yeah, it's tricky because when you're starting out, how do you get people to know? Luckily, we got to see Benicio's work at the same time when he was auditioning, so we could see how talented he was.
But yeah, when people get the job and they have time to prepare and they go to the set, they could do their thing. Yeah. I'm sure there's many a person that a good audition is, but when they get to the set, they fall apart.
Absolutely. That happens too.
I've seen that happen, right? So he backs off. I know you're not earning what you expect. He gives him the casino on Bloomfield Avenue.
It's a big mistake, and it comes out of his guilt for abandoning him and him going to jail. Yeah.
He keeps bringing it up. He yells at Tony B. Tony B doesn't budge. And he says, see if they can open the books and straighten you out.
Which is huge.
That's a big thing. Melfi's office. So I solved the major business problem, business-wise, put a very good piece of manpower to work. My cousin Tony, Carmelo and I slept together. What was that like? It was nice. Very erotic. She wears that cologne. She wears that perfume.
And then he says the poor thing was starved for it, which is not true.
So he thinks.
All right.
Melfi doesn't think much of an IQ test like you. Yeah. Tony B. But, Tony B earlier, he denies it. And then Tony brings up the IQ, right? 158, the nuns, and he said a lot of good it did me, Who knows? IQ, what's that, Mensa? A member of Mensa is a big deal.
You have to take a test,
Yeah.
To be in Mensa, yeah.
Those guys.
Men's.
Yeah, those guys walk around wearing that on their badge on their sleeve.
They do? You've met a few?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've never met anybody.
There's a couple of comics that were in Mensa that I know.
Are they funny?
Okay.
But they let you know.
Intelligent, funny. Smart, funny.
Yeah, all right.
Todd Herman's office, the divorce lawyer. She meets with Todd Herman. He's definitely not the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. Give me your tax returns and investments here. The house is in my name, not the boat. I'm a little concerned that the returns will reflect other income. He deals in cash, she says. She doesn't give him up.
Well, she says, is it illegal? She's like, oh, no. It's cash business.
Deals in
Carding business.
He brings up, he tracked down 11 years of income from a vending machine. This guy doesn't know who he's fucking around with.
But vending machines are often,
usually mobbed up.
Yeah.
Meadows' apartment. Meadow arrives, Finn watches TV. Stop by my dad's. He got you a job working construction, $20 an hour. Good money.
Good money, especially, what is this, almost 20 years ago.
He says, how is that possible? Holy shit. Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get to this site here, the construction site.
Yes.
I know the winger meter's in the shop, but look, this is a beautiful.
That's a wing. It's almost like a perfect triangle. Look at that.
And you know what? If you look in this scene, everybody, the wings match his outfit. He's wearing a nice powder blue, and the wings almost match the outfit. You see that?
Yeah.
Juliet Polska got his his beautiful blue, and his wings are just perfect.
Gorgeous.
He must have got the wings done the day before.
Yeah, just like very perfect, like a perfect wedge.
They're almost like angel wings, I would say.
Almost, yeah. That is something. Thank you for sharing that, Steve.
Vito, little Paulie, Benny, Patsy.
So that's construction site now is PS17 in Clifton, New Jersey. It was being built at the time.
Oh yeah. They're sitting around bullshitting like they do. They're just talking baseball, bullshitting, passing the time.
They got no work job, so they have to be there. They punch the clock, but they don't have to do a goddamn thing.
And they hang around and they kill time and they bullshit and Paulie. I mean, they're breaking balls, right? So Finn doesn't know exactly what's going on, right? I mean, he's new to this. He's a West Coast guy. He doesn't know the mob from nobody. He doesn't know shit.
Does he know that Tony Soprano's a mobster?
Yes, he does know that.
Yeah.
But he's a green banana. This is Mission Viejo and where they live in Jersey.
Right. He's assuming he's on a construction site and everyone's construction workers. He doesn't realize that half of them are wise guys.
They're getting kickbacks. They're sitting in a circle. Here comes Paulie out of nowhere, pulls up with the car, calls him Shaggy. Now, is that because of his hair or from Scooby-Doo?
Scooby-Doo.
He looks like that a little bit.
Well, he's got the T-shirt and the jeans and his long hair.
He says,
he's skinny.
Shaggy, grab a bucket and some Lysol. Scrub off my tires. There's dog shit over by the entrance. Hurry up before it gets into the treads. Then I'll never get it out. Right? He's very nasty to him.
And he finds out he's Meadow's boyfriend. Right, and then he changes his tune when he finds out it's Meadow's boyfriend. And I love what he does. He lifts up the kid's shirt and then sticks the money in his
pocket.
In his pocket. Yeah, it's kind of a classic Sirico move.
He's nasty to the kid. What do you say? I'll knock your teeth out or something. And they're talking baseball. Vito starts. He notices Finn. He's kind of looking at him like he's got a pork chop around his neck.
A little bit, yeah. Well,
he's starting to salivate a little.
But we didn't know that at the time, right?
We
nobody
did not
knows.
know that.
This is all.
This is all in hindsight, right? Vito, the Yankees. Vito's a gambler. Baseball, he knows. He says, "I'm a Padre fan." Paulie gets scared. Paulie's the biggest fucking ass kisser, two-face troublemaker. Correct.
He wants to be in good with Tony all the time.
Now, this
and
is
not just Tony. He did that with Carmine Sr. and Johnny Sack and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, this is a great scene. One of my favorite quotes from any character in the entire series when Tony says, "The only reason you have anything is because of my fucking sweat, and you knew every step of the way exactly how it works. But but you walk around in that fucking mansion in your $500 shoes and your diamond rings, and you act like butter wouldn't melt in your mouth."
Fantastic. Yeah.
Brilliant fucking line there.
It's a really good scene. It starts off with "Believe Me" by the Skyliners, who did "Since I Don't Have You." That was their big hit. And Artie, just the worst timing, coming over when he shouldn't be there. She thinks she's being slick by doing it in public. Yeah. And he knows that's an ambush, so he can't make a scene and yell and be intimidating. She wants to move on, and he's like, "Last week it didn't look like you wanted to, move on. And we don't believe in divorce. We believe in the nuclear family."
Yeah, but he says Italians. I think he means Catholics, no? Italians? Okay, he said Italians believe in the nuclear family. Yeah. We don't believe in divorce. He said Italians are Catholics.
He says Italians, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What about Buddhists? They don't give a fuck about divorce?
Buddhism is very different than Buddhism is not about like these rules that you should do this. Like even like the idea of karma is not a rule of Buddhism. Karma is just the law of cause and effect.
So they don't have nothing to do with divorce. Doesn't register there.
I don't know, because divorce is like a legal it's a legal thing. It's not really a religious thing. You don't need a priest to divorce you.
I know that, but the Catholics, that's what do you think Father Phil's always fucking
Yeah, I know, but
up her ass about.
But it's yeah. No, there's nothing.
You know what I mean?
Buddhism is not so much about those kind of things. It's more about Buddhism. Really is about dealing with your own mind and how you think and how your thoughts dictate how you behave. That's really what it's about. It's not like you can't do this, you can't do that. Of course, there's things about morality and ethics and discipline. Negative actions reap negative results, so they tell you not to do negative actions, but it's not like this is what we believe and you can't do it. It's very different that way.
He says Italians, I'm thinking he means Catholics. Okay? He says, she's kind of confident because she saw that lawyer. And he said with the vending machine money. So she's confident. She meets him here. Says, I have an attorney. He's going to aggressively pursue my custody of AJ and also an equitable distribution of our assets. Also, it's fucking money. That's all this is to you.
And she knows how he makes his money, and she
knew every step of the way. And she is as much a hypocrite to me as Tony Soprano. With the church and with the whole thing, and she reaps the reward.
Yeah, yes, but, I agree. With what you just said, I agree. But there's a lot, how much humiliation can she take with the, Arena and the
I'm not saying she's wrong.
I'm not
saying she's wrong, but she,
You know what I mean? It's like, at some point, it's like you can't be just a doormat. You know what I mean? You turn the blind eye, yeah. But then at some point you're getting calls at the house, our son's on the phone with the, and it's at some point it's just like, what, you got to draw a line.
We're at the construction site. Finn's talking to Felicia.
That's Paula Garces who plays Felicia.
And listen, Finn is a young, good-looking guy. He's, 21, 22 years old. He's all fucking living with her already, tied up. It's kind of young. I know you lived with people young. I didn't,
Yeah, I did from 21.
Yeah, that's So you guys going to get married or what? There's a flirtation going on here.
Sure, she's a pretty young girl, yeah.
Feeling around. She's nice looking. The ring means something.
Has a magical
kind of
power.
A weird tower.
Yeah. And then I love Vito comes over. Phineas, my boy, your Cubbies gave the pods a real shellac. The Cubbies gave your pods a real shellacking, and he brings up Joe Perry from Aerosmith. He looks like Joe Perry, so he's taking a big interest in his appearance.
I sat with him at a charity event, Alzheimer event. Him and his wife.
Well, he was with Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
At Foxwoods when we had an appearance there. They hung out with us.
I was there, but I sat with him at a charity event, and we had a good time. A lot of fun. Clothes store, Camilla and Meadow are shopping. She said you don't get much, blouse. A lot of money for not much shirt. I have decided to move ahead with the divorce. Meadow is not happy about that. I even thought beyond being dependent on some man. I think Meadow is a little disappointed in Carmella. She expects more from her. Yeah,
she kind of feels like doesn't have her own identity. She's not independent. She's kind of, being dependent. Exactly. And she's going to be dependent after the divorce, and Carmella's like, well, it's so simple for you, isn't it?
And she says, you guys looked chummy at the pool, at the party. So she knows something went down there. She went home. What'd she say? He just helped me clean up. She was very short about that. Construction site again. They mentioned E-Bell watches. Did you get one of those?
I did, yeah.
Me too.
A nice one. I still have it. It's beautiful.
I have a beautiful one with diamonds. It's in the safe deposit.
Where did we get? Did those fall off a truck? Where did we get those? We're confusing the show with you're talking like little Paulie got it for us.
No. E-Bell were fans of the show, and they sent a bunch of watches over.
Right, because we mentioned it there.
Numerous guys. I don't know who all got them. I'm sure Jim did. I did. You did.
I have a beauty.
Yeah, I have a really nice one. Phil and Billy
Leotardo
arrive. Little Paulie. So Patsy, the necklace had to go over with the gamache. She fucking loved it. First he gave her emeralds, then he gave her the pearls. He gives her the universal sign for Stuppen.
Right.
Is that the universal sign?
It's one of them.
In any language? What's
That's
the
one
other
of
one?
them, yeah.
This?
That, yeah. That.
What a fucking moronic show this is.
What?
Not the Sopranos. Talking Sopranos.
Talking Sopranos.
My girl's birthday's coming up. Some wreck on that girl. Patsy says, yeah. If you get past the sideburns. He likes to break balls,
break balls. And then they're talking about the little Paulie's girl with the mustache. The insults start flying, and this is not going in the right direction.
Well, you ought to know, sweetie. Eugene way overreacts.
Oof.
Gets up and hits him. These are friends. The same crew.
These are friends, and the guys are laughing like it's a funny thing.
They're laughing like it's a joke. And then finally, after a while, he kicking them. They go, "Oh, easy," Patsy and even Benny. Hey, take it easy, Gene.
Yeah.
Made your point,
Now is Little Paulie a made guy?
Oh no, I don't think so. He's a soldier.
Eugene is.
Eugene is.
So that's where that
Benny
is.
and Paulie are the same.
Vito's a made guy, Patsy's a made guy, and Eugene. I don't think anyone else
Vito
does.
mentions Jersey tomatoes, which is that's a big deal. Jersey tomatoes. They grow good tomatoes out there in Jersey, yeah. Guys are sitting around bullshitting, shooting the shit, killing time all day, every day. Billy.
So Finn is traumatized by seeing this thing.
He's puking.
Yeah, he really sees this and scared. This is way, way too much, and he doesn't know how to handle this.
Billy asks Felicia about if the toner came in yet.
So New York's got a hand in the construction game. They're milking they're skimming toner, whatever they can.
And now here's another time Vito blames black guys because he tells Gene to get out of here, and we'll say it was black guys if the cops come. Meadows' apartment. Meadow and Finn, they eat dinner. She made chili. It's 100 degrees and humid.
Not what you want to eat when it's hot out, no?
He doesn't want to eat it. She's saying, I made dinner. This is good chili. The guy's sweating.
He's sweating.
Bad choice.
Yeah, not a good idea. And he's describing what happened. Eugene, this guy was like an animal. And she's like, he's so sweet. He's an animal. Is this what you grew up with? Didn't you have a boyfriend who got killed? She says, now she does the same thing. He was killed by drug dealers.
Black guys. If it makes you feel better,
and then she also says, you got to understand the modes of conflict resolution or from the poverty they experience in the old country, making excuses, defending her father.
You talk about these guys like they're anthropology class.
Yeah.
The graveyard, Joe Peep's funeral. The headstone says Peeps, which is very, very funny.
It's just hilarious. His real name was Pepperelli. Silvio, Steven Van Zandt's Silvio is great in this scene when he just
says it's a fucking nickname. We got to redo it. He said Jason's dyslexic. Tony says, "What's that got to do with?"
It's just great. The two of them are great in that little moment. It's really funny.
Johnny Sachs walking away. You remember Mickey Farrow? Guess who we saw on the Upper West Side the other night? Your fucking cousin Tony. You want to yell at someone? You should be yelling at that guy. He points to little Carmine. I should fucking kill him and his wife and your cousin. He is livid, Johnny Sack.
He's livid. Tony says you got to shake his hand and put this thing to bed, basically, so everyone can get back to work. But Johnny Sack is not letting this go. I love that. Then there's a cut back to the gravesite, and they asked Silvio, "How's your daughter doing?"
Yeah, they said make it small talk. Phil Leotardo.
Phil asks how your daughter doing, and Stevie has one word, but it's almost like he's saying 20 sentences. He's
absolutely.
He doesn't want to answer. He's going to answer. You don't know what's going on. It's just a funny, really great moment, and Stevie really nails it there. Great little thing.
Ginny and John are very upset. Johnny looks at Tony B. I mean, Dagger's here. There's trouble here.
There's trouble, and he says, Tony Soprano lies. He says, you want to know the truth? We were looking for his daughter in upstate New York. I'm humbling myself out of friendship here. It's all bullshit. It's all lies. And he's covering for his cousin.
Construction site. Eugene calls Finn over. Okay, settle this. If they fought today, both in their prime, Ali or Tyson, I don't know. Gene says, what are you talking about? It's just an opinion.
He's just terrified.
Yeah. You see, he is afraid. The kid's all right. I should get back. Ramos will be on my ass. Vito says, I talked to him. We got the good donuts today. Sit down.
And you really see Vito eyeing him in this scene.
Now.
Yeah.
Finn, I'm fucking exhausted. I hardly slept last night. He's looking Finn up and down, but we still don't know it at this point.
No, not at all. Not at all. But, no, in hindsight, now that we do, going back and watching it, you see it there. And he's very good playing this.
Christopher's apartment. Adriana sits on the couch. He's going through the cabinets. What are you looking for, a candy bar?
Snickers, yeah.
Is that a junkie thing?
Well, when you give up, even if you give up booze too, as well as drugs, your body craves. When you give up booze, your body craves sugar because there's sugar in the alcohol. But even giving up drugs, often people get into sugar because it's, I guess, how it affects the bloodstream or something like that. It's better to eat sugar than it is to shoot heroin, obviously. But this is the. We hear this kind of thing from a lot of characters, but especially from Christopher. Resentment, feeling unappreciated, feeling disrespected. He's not getting his just desserts. This happens. This is a constant thing. He goes from feeling like Tony loves him and is taking care of him to resenting Tony, that Tony wants to,
he's moving up the ladder before him. I gets out of jail. Suddenly I'm dog shit in Tony's eyes.
And it's all about Chris here. Chris is seeing things just from his own perspective. He's thinking Tony resents that he's clean on drugs, doesn't believe he can change. And I love that line. He says, it's always some shit with him. Side deals, secret promises. He's always got an agenda, which is okay if it's involving Christopher.
Yeah, but Christopher's also not wrong here.
No, he's not.
Out of Tony's guilt, he moved him up the ladder.
That's true.
I mean, he did do 15 years in jail. Agent San Severino. San Severino, Karen Young. Karen, if you're out there listening, get a hold of us because we'd love to have you on the podcast. We can't find you.
I don't know if she's listening.
Well, maybe somebody knows her. Karen Young.
She's very good. I think she does a great job in this role. Here we see her with her daughter for the first time, I think. And Adriana calls her, which means Adriana's in very deep with the feds by this point.
Yeah. The interrupting the daughter is doing, she's interrupting, she's scolding the daughter. She's a hard ass. Agent San Severino.
Oh, yeah. She's...
Karen Young, please contact TalkingSopranos.com. We'd love to have you on as a guest. If anyone knows the whereabouts of Karen Young, who plays Agent San Severino, please contact us. Is that good?
Very good.
You think we'll track her down? She might say, fuck these two assholes. I don't want to have nothing to do with that.
She may. I'm sure she wouldn't be the only one.
Beach at night. Meadow, Finn, and their friends have a bonfire on the beach. I like that. A fire on the beach is cool. You wear a sweatshirt.
You do it out there in California?
No, I haven't done it in a long time.
Why not?
But, I don't think they allow fires in certain places only, They stopped that. But that's nice. I've done it in the past, years ago, Florida. I like that.
Yeah, it is nice.
They're smoking weed. I'm not a weed guy, but they're smoking weed.
You've never smoked weed, ever?
I think I might be the only guy in America that doesn't smoke weed.
You've never, ever?
I might be the only guy in America who doesn't smoke weed. The whole world smokes weed.
Oh,
the whole world.
Not the whole world.
You walk around New York City, there's weed on every corner.
Well, now it's decriminalized. People don't.
Do you smell it? Do you smell it everywhere? You're back
smell
in
it
New
in a
York?
lot of places, sure, but
Smoking weed.
you know, listen. The one thing I will say is like the people who smoke weed. The last thing they want to do is be violent or get into it. It's not like alcohol where people get drunk and want to fight and want to argue. At least when people smoke pot, they get mellow out. They don't get violent. They don't want to fight.
But do you think, so let me ask you this question, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm just asking a question. Is it a drug where a kid smokes weed, then he goes, I get high, it's great, but I want to get fucking higher. So I'll take a pill. I'll do some coke. I'll try other stuff. Do you think it's a gateway, like people say?
I think life is a gateway drug. Meaning that if that's your kind of disposition, you're gonna do that anyway. It's not necessarily
you're
about
do it whether pot's legal or not. You're gonna go seek it out.
I mean, like, well, why would that be different than alcohol? You could have a drink. You're like, well, I want more than just being a little tipsy. I want something. It depends on your personality if you're going to use something addictively. I mean, they say it's not physically addictive, but it certainly can be psychologically. I mean, people smoke pot every day. Anything can be. You can have you can get addicted to Snickers bars. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's a personality thing, and whether it messes up your life or not.
I once was addicted to Snickers.
Snickers bars, really?
Yeah, I love Snickers.
How many were you up to a day?
I love Snickers. I love M&M peanuts.
How many would you have in a day at your worst?
No.
When you were really addicted?
12, 13?
No way.
12 or 13.
No
Snickers.
way. In one day? Are you serious? Did you have an intervention? Was it like that? Like
intravenous. I had Snickers intravenously.
Did they give you an intervention? Say you can't do this anymore?
My wife did. Can't do this.
That's a lot of Snickers, dude.
Stay off the Snickers.
Thank God your wife is smart. And
if it wasn't for my wife Laura, I'd be dead. I would have never known you. I would have been dead years ago.
Really?
Takes care of me.
You're a lucky guy.
Since the day I met her, I am a very lucky guy. She takes care of me. I would be dead on numerous accounts.
Yeah.
Not just Snickers. I got a motor. Finn says, I got a motor. You don't have to work for like 3 hours. Felicia told me where she keeps the keys. And of course, what does Meadow do? Oh, Felicia. She makes a joke, but she's joking on the square here.
But she doesn't know. I like when the guy says he's still thinking about the CIA. He goes, no, I want to go to film school. This one wants to go to film school. A lot of people want to go to film school.
Yeah. Not me. I don't want to go to film school.
He's going to say...
I don't want to go to film school.
He wants to stay up all night. He's going to go in a trailer.
Now, this is one of the funniest and most surprising...
Yeah.
People fell out of their chairs here in shock.
Yeah.
Nobody.
It's well directed, well shot, and well played, and well directed.
Nobody saw this coming.
Storytelling, from a storytelling point of view, it's a great.
Joe Moretti plays the security guard who's getting blown. He starred in The British Jew with the Loose Screw. That was one of his credits.
And his
he's
other
moaning.
He
doesn't say anything. He's moaning, but he's a famous. This is Trivial Pursuit. Down the road, this will be one of the questions.
What? How will they word it in the game?
What actor was getting blown by Vito Spatasfori in season 5 of The Sopranos? Could you name the actor getting blown?
What's his name?
Joe Moretti.
Joe Moretti.
The British Jew with the loose screw.
I'm sure, the one thing you could say, he had, I don't know if he doesn't have any lines. He's in there for a couple of seconds. But if you say, I was the guy that, was in the car with Vito, everyone knows who he is.
Now, do you think he's a method guy? Do you think he went around getting blown to prepare for this? Did he go to different spots and get blown and try to really, ease into it? Do you think?
What do you mean, like he never had one before? Is that what you're thinking?
I don't know. I don't know Joe Moretti.
Everybody's
I'm sure he's a
had
fine
one.
Fellow. Not everybody. Not everybody.
Most men.
If you've never been blown, please go to TalkingSopranos.com.
Actually, please don't.
Let us know.
Please don't.
Let us know if you've never been blown, guys. Okay, it is really one of the funniest scenes. We talked about this before. Joe Ganascoli
And Will is great in this, and it's just he's shocked beyond belief.
Joe came up with the idea of being a gay mobster.
It was based on something, right, that he had read, right?
Yes, he read
In
a
real
book.
life. In real life.
A Gambino crime family guy was gay and he was allowed to live because he earned. Also, I think there's another Jersey mob family, the same thing, possibly. So you don't think this guy went around, like guys I'm playing a dealer and I go,
Well, if you're playing a murderer, you don't go around killing people, do you?
No, you don't. But if you're playing a dealer in a card game, you might go practice. If you got to shoot a gun, you might go to the gun range. You don't think he went around getting blown? Maybe if he would have went to the producers and said, "I really want to get this
Do you
done."
think it looked believable? Did he look like?
Yeah.
Did he pull it off?
I think he pulled it off. I think it looked good. Finn walks out of the porta john. Vito's standing real close.
I love this scene. I love when the door opens and he's right there. It's very creepy, very scary.
He says,
I love
"You
it.
sound like a racehorse pissing in there."
It's just it's such a weird thing to say. And he says, "What's
Finn
your
is
last
scared?
name?" DeTrolio. Finn DeTrolio, my arch nemesis. I love it.
You came in
So
early
funny.
today. I keep telling you shouldn't work so hard, long hours, just fucking eat. Plus, you came in early today. So he's letting them know he knows.
They both know. They looked at each other in the eyes.
I got a little surprise for you. 2 tickets to see your Padres take a beating from the Yankees tonight.
But it's also
That's
weird
really
when
nice,
he says,
Vito.
"You know my name. Call me. Say it. Say what's up, Vito." I mean, it's just so fucking weird. But I love that. Now this is intentional, right? It's on the third base line because he saw him getting to third base in the car, right? And it's
is that
bat
it?
night.
Really?
What's third base?
Is a blowjob third base?
Yeah. Well, what, of course, home plate is intercourse.
So what's home plate? You kiss him?
Intercourse.
No. Okay. Oh, you go the other way. First base is what?
First base is making out.
You tickled his balls? What? What's
Making
first
out.
base?
Second base is feeling, and third base is oral. That's how the rules were explained to me.
Really? Who told you those rules? The birds and the bees. Your dad
where
told
did you?
that?
Well, what is it to you? What's first base?
Yeah. I guess you're feeling a girl up. I guess.
Well, what's
you're
second
kissing.
base? Kissing. What's second base? Feeling.
No. There's more bases. Hold on.
There's only
you're
three bases. What do you mean? There's more bases. What game are you playing? It's baseball.
You're kissing. You're
Right?
kissing and feeling. That's first base.
No, feeling second base.
What about fingering?
That's
What is
feeling.
that?
That counts as feeling.
Also, feeling upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah, that's all second base.
That's all second base when you throw it
Yeah.
all together. And then
Yeah.
third base is oral.
Oral. Yeah,
And then intercourse is the home run.
is a home run. But he's got
Like
tickets
in-
on the third
like in
base line.
Like in the Meatloaf song,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
There you go.
He's got
All right.
tickets on the
You know-
third base line, and it's bat night. That's got to be intentional, right?
You taught me something today. I didn't know.
I'm a font of knowledge, Steve.
Really?
You know that.
It's amazing.
When it
You
comes
do
to
ha-
baseball, I know everything.
You do have a high IQ.
I'm like, I'm one of those baseball trivia guys.
You're like, what's her name? What's the little woman's name? That's
Dr. Ruth?
Dr. Ruth.
He's into baseball?
Yeah, she's into baseball. She's a sex expert. I did Hollywood Squares with her.
Don't pull that aw shucks shit with me. You're fucking going. Hilarious. It's so hilarious.
Finn
And then he
is a
says,
mess.
I want to see you under the bat at 7. Don't be late. I don't like missing the national anthem. Now, did they move the bat?
Yes.
They
Now
moved
this
it.
is the old Yankee Stadium, right? The old Yankee
Right.
Stadium The bat was behind home plate
Right.
at the old Yankee Stadium. There was the parking lot.
No, the home plate entrance.
Correct.
Now, 2009, the new stadium opened.
So it's still up, but it's a park across the street.
So the bat is still up.
The bat is still up. They kept the bat up.
Now, you know what you can use to keep your bat up? One of our sponsors.
Yep, Blue Chew tablets. Keep your bat up. So yeah, the bat is still there. So folks, if you've never been there, now there's a park across the street that are baseball fields, for kids to play.
And whose signature's on the bat? You know that, right?
I do not know that.
Babe Ruth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's got like the tape, right?
Yeah.
And it used to be that was the spot. Meet me by the bat. Meet me by the bat.
I think I met you at the bat once.
You probably did. That was the scene, but now it's still up. They didn't knock it down. Meadows' apartment. They watched the pregame for the Yankees, so you're just not going to show up. I don't like the guy. He came on to me, all right? Either that or he wants to kill me. I saw him blowing some security guard in the parking lot.
He's so good. Will's really great. I mean, you really believe this?
I seriously doubt he wants to kill you. Well, maybe he wants to fuck me and then kill me. Very funny line. Wait a minute. Is that why you got out the suitcase? And she is obsessed with this suitcase. Once again, she is a pain in the ass. She's pissed, very insecure about him leaving.
Yeah, he mentions my dad pulled strings to get you this job. We want to skip town. And is a little detail they bring up. Hunter is in Montreal. Yeah. Now, Hunter Scangarella was played by Michelle de Cesare, David Chase, his daughter. And he said Hunter's in Montreal, and Michelle went to college in Montreal, to McGill. So
this is to McGill.
Yeah.
The Harvard of Canada. Great school.
Yeah, she went there. So that's just a little inside detail. This case becomes a big drama that goes on and on here, and it's.
You have any idea the strings my father pulled to get you that job? You just fucking quit. You got out the suitcase, and he says it's his process getting out the suitcase. He's just fucking digging himself a deeper hole here.
Yeah, but he's seriously afraid. I mean, listen, Vito's being intimidating. He knows Vito's a gangster. He saw what could happen. He doesn't know what the hell this guy's capable of. But he's not getting anything
with her. She's not being empathetic. Empathetic, is that a word?
I guess she doesn't believe him, that's what's happening.
She doesn't believe him. She thinks he wants to get out of the relationship. Right. They talked about it. That's what she's thinking. There's a scene... Yankee Stadium, Vito's outside. This was shot in the off season. I remember this. There's no baseball going on. They had the announcer mention it. There's some extras walking around.
Well, it could have been a day when they were on the road.
No. There was no game. This was off season. Yeah, I remember that. Whenever they shot it, there was nothing. Well,
it looks hot out though.
It was windy. You're doubting me, I see.
I am, because it looks like it's summer in the other scenes of the show, no?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they shot this at a different time.
Maybe they did a second unit at the end of the season. Okay. All right, yeah.
Why don't you ask your fucking friend AS, that jerk off, who thinks he knows everything?
Well, maybe he doesn't know the production schedule.
Because he doesn't know nothing, because he's an asshole.
Well, Steve, he knows a lot. Okay, let's give him. You got to give him his dues a little bit.
I'm not giving nobody no dues.
The guys watch the show an awful lot.
Yeah, but you want to know something, Michael? You can make up a lot of mumbo jumbo bullshit, phony, intelligent bullshit. Okay. Meadows' apartment. They sit on the bed. They talk. It's 4:00 in the morning. One of those long, you ever have a long drawn out argument like that?
Yeah, it's really well done. Very accurate to this kind of, circular argument. Well, why did you get the suitcase? But, what is your intention? She's crying in the bathroom. Wait till this thing with Vito blows over.
Yeah, that's
just funny.
No pun intended. It's really simple. Are we going to stay together or not? She's terrified he's going to leave her. Terrified. That's not what I asked. I said I did. He falls asleep.
He's exhausted. He's also working really early in the morning.
I'm just saying, you fall asleep. He's saying you're like a prosecutor.
The wrong thing to say. She doesn't like that. She runs into the bathroom. She comes out.
He says, let's get married. Let's get engaged. It's like a guy, you know what it reminds me of? A guy, you know when the cops pull you in for questioning?
Yeah.
And they browbeat him and the guy's there for hours. They won't let him sleep or eat. And so he signs a confession. Just to fucking, you know what I mean? Just so he could go get some sleep, go to bed. He decides he'll marry her. Just stop this. It's kind of like that, don't you think?
That's what it seems like.
She broke him down.
Great scene with the two of them. They're really good and really well written and very accurate to like how these things happen in life, you know?
Todd Herman calls Carmela, the lawyer. We hit a bit of a snag. I put in a call to Phil Cantor. He's the forensic accountant. Suddenly he called. He said he wasn't interested. So he called another accountant. Frankly, when he heard your husband was a defendant, he demurred as well. She hangs up, throws the groceries to the ground.
Now, a little inside TV and movies, the paper bags they use in a movie is not like a regular paper bag. They use a special material that doesn't make that crunchy sound. Because if you're carrying it, you got a microphone on, or that bag's going to make a lot of noise and interfere with the sound. She throws the paper bag and you hear it crunch. That sound was added in post.
Afterwards.
That's how much detail goes into shooting TV, just so you guys know.
When people walk, the sound man will put the cushions on the bottom of your feet, so you don't make that noise, your heels and clacking and clicking. It's very distracting.
They want it, they'll add it in post-production at the end and edit it in and mix it into the final mix.
Looping.
We go to Melfi's, and Tony says, I woke up this morning, which is the name of our book, which is coming out in November. Woke up this morning, an oral history of
The Sopranos.
Of The Sopranos. And we're excited. We just recently turned in the book. It's done.
It's going to be great.
Phil Lerman, our co-writer, who really is amazing and wrote the book with us. We're very proud of it. I just read the whole thing. I think it's amazing.
I think it's going to be, it really is. If you're a Soprano fan, you want to read this book. I mean, I think it's great.
It's a story from the people who were there. It's not, it's from their point of view. It's really from interviews and transcripts and
books,
stuff.
but none like this. None.
No, there's never been one like this. It really hasn't.
I don't think there'll ever be one like this, Tony says he's very depressed, a wave of depression. He had another panic attack. It's not the first time it's happened recently. He mentions his Mexican housekeeper, her cousin died. And then my cousin Tony was up at the house. He wanted to borrow some tools. They weren't there. I was inside talking to Carmela. He started to, remember when he started to feel it? She said, are you okay? And it passed.
Yeah.
The reason he went to prison and he got pinched, he's talking about Tony B, hijacking a truckload of Betamaxes in 86. And I was supposed to be there tonight to jacking. Now, you had a chance years ago, Betamax or VHS, and a lot of people that went with Betamax got fucked. You were taking a gamble.
Yeah, they were different sizes.
And Betamax, you bought all those movies and they went away.
It was Sony, right? Wasn't it? Betamax was Sony.
Remember the movies were like very expensive, over
$80, $100, yeah.
A lot of money.
I thought Jim and Lorraine are really good in this scene. Him talking about the panic attack the night Tony B got pinched. I had a fight with my mother of a panic attack. What was I going to say? I had a fight with my mother and I fainted. I'm a robot to my own pussy ass weakness. I thought they were the two of them were excellent.
They were great. And then once again, he mentions he was jumped by black guys. He's lying. First, he lies to her. Tried to steal his shoes.
All right. This is around the time, he's referring to around the time when Air Jordans came out.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's like the 80s.
Is that when Air Jordans came out?
I think so.
Yeah. I never had Air Jordans. I had Clyde Pumas.
So did I. I still get them. I like them. I don't think they're called Clyde anymore, but they still make those.
Yeah, I like Clyde. I like them.
Yeah.
Are you having an attack now? He's saying, no, it's gas. I just ate something. What is it, Anthony? She says, I have my medical bag with me just in case. What's going to be in the medical bag?
Probably like nitroglycerin for heart attacks, maybe smelling salts, maybe some kind of sedative, maybe, that kind of stuff.
she
Adrenaline,
said,
maybe.
She said, he tells her, I wish you cured it, the panic attacks. And then he starts with that Tony Uncle Al shit, which I can't stand that. I gotta be honest.
I know you don't like it.
I don't like it. And nor does Melfi. She cuts him off. Yeah, you've told me that already. Stop with the Tony Uncle Al, the Tony Uncle
you
Johnny.
really hate that stuff.
There's not much about this show I dislike, and that is one of the things that just annoys me.
When something rubs you the wrong way, when you don't like something, you really don't like it.
I really don't like it. And I can't let it go. And I beat it to fucking death. Right? I beat it to death. Let it go already. Let it go. God damn, what's wrong with you? I say that to myself. Can't you just let it fucking go? And I can't. I can't.
You'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah. I need another sponsor. Better help. Maybe they can help me with that. So his mother, he talks about his mother with the booties. She was making booties for Meadow when she was a baby, and Carmela was supposed to bring the yarn over. She was late, started breaking balls and breaking his balls and torturing him, and he went outside and he fell. That's why he didn't show up that night. And he also says Tony B lost his wife, lost his daughter, and I did pretty good, you know?
I mean, and this is a thing that just haunts him. It makes him really doubt himself. It makes, it's a big burden of guilt and remorse and that he's been carrying for 17 years.
And Tony says sometimes what happens in here is like taking a shit. I feel like that on this podcast. This is talking to you sometimes like taking a shit to me. Talking Sopranos podcast. That's what it's like. A big fucking steamy dump.
Really? I've never felt that.
No. Well, that's what I feel like.
I love this podcast.
Okay. I love it too.
Yeah.
But doing it feels like taking a shit. And which is a great line. She says, I like to say it's more like childbirth. And he says, no, it's like taking a shit.
Trust me. Yeah.
Carmela arrives, sees Tony's car. She's disgusted. She's frustrated. She's got nowhere to go, nothing to do. He's floating in the pool like he owns the place.
And now the pool is where, they had the last time they had sex, where it looks like they were going to reunite again. It's also where the ducks were. So, his panic attack connected to his family and what we talked about early on, the fear of losing his family and his family being in jeopardy. And now he's back in the pool.
The phone rings. Meadow, I'm engaged. Finn proposed. We're getting married. Are you sure? That's wonderful, honey. I'm just so surprised. He's going to finish dental school first, right? I mean,
4 years down the road, 5 years.
Kind of a weird question from your mom. I don't know. She starts crying. She's not crying. She is happy for her. Don't get me wrong, but she's crying because she's frustrated, disgusted with Tony. No, she's never going to get rid of Tony Soprano. He's in the pool.
The family's, it's broken, and she wants to be happy. She can't be that happy. We end on the Bobby Darin version of Tim Hardin's song, If I Were a Carpenter. Tim Hardin actually played it at Woodstock, that song. And it was about, Lenny Bruce was a friend of his, and he was building him a studio in his house. And that's where the song came out of. Bobby Darin's real name was Walden Robert Casotto.
Yeah, did you know, now, a very close friend of mine who passed away named Charles Najar, he was good friends with Bobby Darin. And Bobby Darin at one point, he, of course, Beyond the Sea and Mac the Knife, and he was a nightclub guy, and then he went away, and he went up to Big Sur. And he got meditated and got into a whole different lifestyle. And when he decided to come back, he started playing country music. and literally booed off the stage in Vegas. No more tuxedo. I believe he had long hair. He sat on a stool with a guitar, and it did not fucking fly.
Wow.
That's true.
Wow. I didn't know that.
That's true. And you know what? I don't know if him and Sinatra were friendly, if there was something there. Some bad blood.
Did he change? Did he go back to the old style?
I think he wound up, before he passed away, I think he did. Because, he died very young. He knew he was sick. He kind of knew it.
What did he die from? I don't even know.
He had a heart condition from when he was a kid. So he died very young. Andy, he was in his 30s. 36 maybe.
Really?
Also, Bobby Darin, he had a thing like Jack Nicholson. His, I think, aunt, he thought, like the same thing as Paulie Gualtieri. He died at 37 years old. Okay? But the same thing, his mother wasn't his mother, Bobby Darin.
Wow.
Same kind of thing like that, All righty.
All right. Good episode.
Great
Unidentified
episode.
black males. Now it's time for the Talking Sopranos Ask Me Anything segment. The winner of our AMA Best Question of the Week is Tyson from Seattle, Washington. We're sending Tyson a pair of Bose headphones.
So Tyson asks, is there a comedian or a musician who you think could have been an interesting addition to The Sopranos? Sometimes I'll be watching a show and think, wow, it would have been fun to see someone like Bill Murray play a part. Who would be your out-of-the-box actor or actress to cast on a show? How do you think they would fit in?
Well, I have two.
Okay.
One is Jackie Gleason.
He would fit in.
He would fit in.
What would you, as a dramatic guy, or would there be a tinge of comedy there?
I think both. I think he could do both. I mean, can you picture Jim and Jackie Gleason sitting in a restaurant talking over some deal or some beef or something? It'd be great.
Who else?
Liberace.
I like it. What would he
Liberace.
play? Vito Spatafori's father.
I know. I think he'd have something more to do with Silvio somehow. Like showbiz.
Hi,
Silvio's
Steve.
booking him at some, at a club or some event or something
When
like
I
that.
saw him at Caesar's Palace, he came flying in. He was wearing culottes.
He came flying in. So
Like an act-
wait,
like
he
a-
knew
like a-
he knew how to fly.
No, he had the wires on him.
Oh,
but
wires.
he came from the ceiling with the wires. What did he keep flying in? What,
I don't know.
Was he a fucking
you said
bird?
he flew in. What the hell do I
He's a
know?
fucking bird? Was he a bird?
I have no idea.
He was on the wires and he had culottes with sparkly shirt, and he was fantastic.
Listen,
You would
Liberace
never
could
think.
pull off anything.
He was great. Short, they were short.
Now, you
culottes.
said he was beloved in Vegas, right?
Beloved, still is for the old timers. Beloved guy.
Good tipper?
Big tipper,
Big tipper.
generous, nice to everyone. His work is, had housekeepers for a long time.
And you
Beloved guy,
used
and
to
then
go to
that's-
his house for Christmas?
No, I didn't go to his house. I never was at his house. I didn't know him like that.
I thought you went to his house for Christmas.
No. I would have if I was invited.
I don't know why I thought that. Where did you go for Christmas? You were at somebody's house.
My house.
Your house.
I had big parties at my house every Christmas Eve.
Who would
Big,
you
big
be?
parts.
Who would your out of the box actor?
Not Bill
actress be?
Murray, because Bill Murray doesn't fit in at all. Because Bill Murray is kind of he's a smart alecky guy. So maybe he comes into the Bada Bing, he starts mouthing off, and they beat the shit out of him. That might work.
I don't know. That would
No?
be kind of a waste.
I don't see him fitting in.
Who would you pick then?
I always thought this. I always thought, honestly, that the show could have went on. If Jim didn't want to do it anymore, or as long as David wanted to do it, if Jim just had enough, I always thought you could bring in, other.
Who?
I think Joe Pesci. I think of Bruno Kirby. I thought like that.
No, but those that's not out of the box. Who would be the out of the box? I mean, Joe Pesci of his, he's done this.
Out of the box, an out of the box actor. I don't know. What about Tim Allen?
As what?
Kind of like a guy, because he was a convicted drug dealer.
I know.
I think like a straight guy that goes south.
Goes south. I can see that.
He runs a bank. He runs a CEO,
and he gets in debt to the wise guys.
And he plays that role. I could see that, like a Tim Allen kind of guy out of the box. You wouldn't expect him. Like, what are you doing on The Sopranos? Right. Hey, listen, I kind of thought Steve Buscemi wasn't out of the box. Even though he's Italian, I don't see him as a mob kind of guy, Steve. A mobster. He's not your typical gangstery guy, like a role that I would play. He doesn't look like that or sound like that or come off like that. I thought that was brilliant casting.
Yeah.
Something like that. How about Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson as Tony's driver.
Mike Tyson is Tony's driver? No, that wouldn't.
Kind of his muscle guy, Mike Tyson. Out of the box. He acts. He can act.
That's out of the box. Certainly.
Better than Tony Saragusa.
But I don't think they would have a black guy being a driver. That wouldn't.
Why? This black guy's been involved with the mob from way back when. Joey Gallo. Gallo.
I believe you, but I'm saying what they've established on the show, they've never established that.
We're talking out of the box here. That's out of the fucking box.
I don't know. Your definition of that's a little different. You're talking about like fantasy world. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
Mike Tyson on The Sopranos is fantasy world. Why?
No, as Tony's driver, yes.
Why not? He's a big tough guy that'll knock people the fuck out. Why not?
I just told you why. Because they've never established that they had anybody of color working for the family in that capacity.
Well, maybe they should. It's a new world.
I'm not disagreeing.
It's a new world. It's a new day.
It's not a new world. We're going back in time to the Soprano time. That's before 2007.
I'm going to read the question again. It says out of the box. That's out of the motherfucking box.
All right. Okay, that's out of the box.
Tyson, enjoy your Bose headphones from Seattle, Washington. Great question.
Steve and I are going to do a new podcast called Out of the Box. Where we're going
Out of the box. When this is over.
It's going to be the new thing.
Out of the box. Thanks for listening. Remember, new episodes are released every Monday. Please subscribe to the Talking Sopranos podcast on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram and like us on Facebook. And right now, you can get official Talking Sopranos merchandise on TalkingSopranos.com or through our YouTube channel.
Our executive producers, Jeff Sussman, producers Andy Verderam. Our music was composed and performed by Elijah Amerton. You can hear more of Elijah's music and the band Zopa, which Elijah and I play in together, by clicking the links on TalkingSopranos.com. We have vinyl. Our album is out on vinyl now. We'll try to get it up on the link if we can. We also will be playing live at the Mercury Lounge in New York City, August 14th, if you want to see us in person. Our production crew includes Ty Verderam and Sierra Schirripa. We record Talking Sopranos at NYC Podcasting, New York's premier podcasting studio. Talking Sopranos is a Pod Jams production. Out of the box.
Out of the motherfucking box.
I'm going back in the box.
Tyson.
Till next week.
I'll see you, man.
See ya.